The sun will soon find its home in the western sky, and it will be Saturday night in Death Valley.
Oh, but first, we're eyeing morning on the bayou and waiting for that sun to peek through in the eastern sky. This version of LSU is cooking with a brand new recipe. They're ready for a little extra spicy offense, and around here, they have craved it. And now that they've got a taste of it, they love it, and they plan to serve it up to Florida tonight. Yeah, they're going to get the pot ready. It's a statement Saturday. More ranked matchups than any day all season. A rivalry on the Red River. Traps are set from College Station to Iowa City. But Florida and LSU here, a healthy side dish of bad blood. And the Tigers have plans for that main course. And it's a little gator right there. There is nothing like Baton Rouge on a Saturday. So operator, won't you put me on through? Got to crank up game day down in Baton Rouge.
Good morning, Baton Rouge.
College Game Day, live from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is built by the Home Depot, proud sponsor of college football's premier pregame show.
We call these first two shots flavor shots. We don't go anywhere where there is more flavor than Baton Rouge. They've got that tiger. They got a live tiger. They're cooking up jambalaya. LC, how come you're not out there body surfing with them?
Oh man, I wish you had told me.
Yeah.
I'd been out there with that. I
Still
can
have
tell
time. We can throw you out there.
Hey, come get LC.
No.
We're right. Baton Rouge, like we've never experienced it before. Glad to have you with us. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, Lee Corso, and it's homecoming for the second straight week. Everybody's homecoming king is back.
There we go.
Kirk Herbstreit. You know what? I say we've never experienced Baton Rouge like this because there's a little chill in the air. Maybe it's because of that stone cold offense that they're running out these days.
Then that's the key. I tell you guys what, the last time we saw LSU play live, it was against Texas. It was in Austin. That's when they just brought out this explosive offense. We were like, man, this group is different. But the flip side of the coin is that same game, their defense got exposed too. I want to see what adjustments Dave Aranda does defensively to try to stop the Gators offense.
Yeah, last week I had questions about Bo Nix as a freshman going into the swamp dealing with that crowd. It had a lot to do with why I picked Florida.
Yep.
Now a week later, now it's Kyle Trask. He's a guy that's been around but inexperienced. He's never had a start like this.
Exactly.
How will he do against this crowd and that intimidation early in the game?
Yeah.
And will Dan Mullen weather the storm early, or will he attack knowing his personality?
This is a match made in heaven. Beast. LSU's offense was averaging 54 points a game, number one in the nation, against Florida defense.
Awesome.
It has allowed only 57 points all season. Can you believe that? I can't wait to see this one. Go Gators! Go Gators! Go Gators!
Shot across the bow there.
Go Gators!
Coach, we're in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. He doesn't mind.
Okay.
You should know that by now. There are great games today. We got 4 ranked matchups. The Red River rivalry playing the State Fair 91st consecutive year in the shadow underneath the gaze of Big Tex. Pig races. Down the stretch they come. Gene Wojciechowski is there. We'll hear from him in a little bit. And Oklahoma, Texas leads off the Saturday slate.
An early kick, 12 o'clock right after college game day. And to me, this is a game with these two quarterbacks. You know, in this game with these two head coaches, how will Jalen Hurts, the transfer from Alabama, who's been outstanding up to this point, and Sam Ehlinger go toe-to-toe against each other, because it has the makings of one of those games like last year at the Cotton Bowl. Which quarterback has the ball last? We've heard about OU's defense being better. How much better? And Texas is healthy on that side of the ball, which is key.
About Michigan State versus Wisconsin, Sparty's defense has been good against the run until a week ago when the Buckeyes shredded them. This is a time for redemption. Going up against Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the country. Guys, I think this game's going to come down to which quarterback can make a throw late. Will it be Brian Lewerke, or will it be Jack Cohn of Wisconsin?
Penn State at Iowa. Penn State has won 11 straight against the Big Ten West teams, including 3 at Iowa. Penn State's defense must match Iowa's defense to get this win today. Take the under in this one. Take the under in this one.
How about USC and Notre Dame? Anytime they get together, it's always fun. Keaton Slovis is back. He's missed the last couple games, but this Notre Dame defense will apply a lot of pressure, especially in South Bend. They are fired up to be able to go up against USC. You know, Ian Book is going to have a chance to make plays, running and throwing. Jafar Armstrong expected back, which could really lift the Irish offense.
And you got Alabama versus Texas A&M. The Aggies have really struggled to run the ball this year, and then Kellen Mond's been getting pressured by opposing defenses. Unlike Tua's having a fantastic season. Lead the FBS in touchdowns with 23 and has the best trio of wideouts with Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, and Harry Wells III.
Ford and LSU and the Gator D hadn't seen anything like this. Joe Burrow completing 78%, but they've got to protect him today. How good's the Florida D? You know, this pick by Sean Davis against Auburn?
Yeah.
They did it with 10 guys on the field. They lead the nation in interceptions. I want you to watch Kyle Trask working the middle of the field today. Mullen is great at matchups, and that's where LSU has had some soft spots. Mullen matched up with Maria Taylor.
Coach, the last time we saw your quarterback, Kyle Trask, he was battling through an MCL sprain to a win for your team. How has his week of preparation looked from your aspect?
You know, pretty good. He battled through it. You know, we limited some of the things he did during the week of practice in the beginning. But, you know, as the week went on, he took all the reps that he normally would take in the week. And you know, so he's ready to go. He's excited to go play. But Emory Jones had a great week of practice. He's ready to roll if he needs to, too.
As a head coach and a play caller, how do you have to put your offense in the best situation in this hostile environment?
You know, one of the things we got to do is we really got to get the plays in fast so that the guys have plenty of time to communicate at the line of scrimmage. You know, we don't want to put the pressure on them, the young players on the field, you know, to have to be up against the clock trying to communicate with how loud it's going to be. So we got to do a good job of getting the plays into them in a hurry so that they have time to communicate on the field.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Maria, Dan, thank you. Here's what's on the slate. The ranked matchups we've mentioned. Texas, that success in the regular season, even as an underdog against OU. And depending on where the line closes, and we'll get that from Bear, Florida State might be the biggest underdog that they've been since 1978. You know, this statement Saturday, kicking off in less than 3 hours. There's no excuses.
No.
You know who we played. This
Right.
is where you start to identify who you are, particularly in this game.
And I tell you, it's a favorite down here, Alabama, the Crimson Tide. You know, everyone loves them down here. But I think that Alabama's been playing great football. But I think this can be a statement game for the Tide. When you look at their wideouts, Henry Ruggs III, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, the best trio of wideouts in college football, and Tua's playing magnificent, but they haven't been able to really run the ball as much as they normally do. I think this can be a statement game on the road against the Aggies, who are ranked. I think they're going to make a statement today.
Florida has a good chance to upset a heavily favored LSU. And I'm going to tell you why.
Tell us.
The Gators won 3 out of 4 against teams like LSU, and the Gators' defense is #1 in interceptions in the country.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Perfect for LSU. And listen to this. In the last 13 quarters, Florida Gators have outscored their opponents 115-16. Go Gators, go! You got them. You get them right.
You're like a chef, a little bit of
He's like he's stirring one of those jambalaya.
He is. He's mixing jambalaya.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing there. Reese, what is it? The most games we've had ranked versus ranked
this
all year,
and
it's week 7. And it's no longer about teams that are hoping. You get an opportunity today. This could be one of those Saturdays when you look at all the results and the dust is settled. This could be one of those weekends finally that starts to define the season for certain teams. You mentioned Alabama on the road against Texas A&M. Penn State still out there undefeated, going to Iowa City. This game right here, we have 2 teams that are unbeaten. Yeah. So there's a lot of games. Oklahoma playing Texas in a rivalry game. So some results today are going to define where we go from here.
Yeah, that's for sure. People have said LSU hasn't seen a defense like this. Florida's defense hasn't seen an offense like LSU's. Coach O's going to join us a little bit later in the show. We're going to hear from Sam Ehlinger as he gets ready for this Red River rivalry against Oklahoma, and plenty of games coming up at noon across our coverage on our family of networks and variety of platforms. You know, they just unveiled a Dick Bucket statue at Illinois. There it is. Michigan and Illinois. Brandon Peters, the former Michigan quarterback, will see if he's able to play against his old team. And twixt the hedges, the old teammates Will Muschamp and Kirby Smart get together. South Carolina hoping for the upset, and Georgia hoping to keep its composure. And it is not good on Rocky Top, but some feel that maybe Mississippi State a little depleted. Maybe the Big Orange can get one today. And Temple against one of the 16 remaining unbeaten teams in college football, Memphis. That is a tough task for Mike Norvell and the Tigers going into Philadelphia. Coming up inside College Game Day, do you like horns up or horns down? Now the symbol of Longhorn pride has been turned on its head, become the ultimate sign of disrespect. Gene Wojciechowski has the story from the State Fair. Plus, you know, there's been plenty of Heisman buzz around Joe Burrow. He's setting LSU's passing record, led his team to an undefeated record. So Rinaldi asked him some probing questions.
Cartoon character you'd most want to be?
SpongeBob.
Why?
Gives it all every day at the Krusty Krab. Goes in there early mornings, late nights, always flipping Krabby Patties, making the best one.
Hey, me boy! Now I love Joe Better even more! Giving me money! Death Valley under the lights. We're counting down to kickoff between the Gators and the Tigers. This stadium might be the most intimidating atmosphere. Point them right to me, Roman. Bring it on here. Give the people what they want.
Hey, go Mike. Hey, go
What do you want on a Saturday morning?
2 Go Gators.
Two go Gators. Two go Gators. That's it, go.
Hey, look at that Coach O sign out there. Love that.
The Home Depot delivered.
College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And in part by Pizza Hut, official pizza of college football. No one out-pizzas the Hut. And Reese's.
Everybody likes free shirts. Fall Fest here on LSU's campus on homecoming weekend. We find out about all kinds of things going on campus, and perhaps even do arts and crafts.
Big fella.
The big Coach O.
A lot of shirtless O.
We need an updated Dez face down there.
I agree. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, we got to update that.
Yeah, but you never age, so David
The hair
Pollack
changes
now.
through the years.
Exactly.
Just a little bit. Had a game last night, Virginia and Miami.
Yeah.
Not much going on in the Coastal. Virginia going in, David, was the only team in the Coastal without a conference loss. Kosi Perry went for the Hurricanes, finds DJ Dow.
And Miami took care of that, didn't they? And didn't create many explosive plays on Virginia's defense, but that's 7 and off to a good start.
That's the offense's version of the turnover chain. Now with Virginia trailing late in the first half, Bryce Hall.
Huge injury.
Got rolled up on. He carted off the field with an ankle injury after getting tangled up on the play. And it was a big loss for the Wahoos. Under 3 minutes to go, still a 1-point game, and Perry would run it in. And I'll tell you, this was a much needed victory for Miami as Manny Diaz celebrates, and a costly one for Bronco Mendenhall. If you look at the ACC Coastal now, you know Jeff Sagarin does the conference ratings. The ACC Coastal ranks behind the West Division of the American Conference.
Well, it should. It's fitting that that game was on a Friday night for high school football. You know, it's a big night for high school. It's tough to watch, that division. I don't care who's playing. It's brutal.
But how long has it been like this?
I mean, let's think of this. Whoever stumbles in to somehow win that division has to show up in Charlotte and play Clemson. I mean, I almost not want to win the division to have to play Clemson at the end of the year by the time December rolls around.
I think Clemson doesn't look that great,
they'll be fine by December.
All right. That's just sort of the way it goes with Clemson. They sort of build, and Clemson has a game coming up against Florida State this afternoon. Which is the real Death Valley? Is that Death Valley?
They don't like that.
No, they don't.
They don't like them.
Clemson ranked second in the country. Remember what happened last year when Clemson and Florida State got together?
It was pretty.
Trevor Lawrence finds Amari Rodgers. Tigers jump to a 35-0 lead, and it would get worse as the then freshman Lawrence found Rodgers again. It went to 45-0, and on the other side, the former Seminoles quarterback DeAndre Francois. I got well acquainted with Xavier Thomas, who will be playing today. Well,
it'll be a different QB. It'll be a different QB, but same result.
I remember that. I remember that.
Well, you know the book he was reading? What? Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, and Florida State was in Dark Places.
Very fitting.
They very well might be going back there again this afternoon. You know, this week, Dabo Swinney got a text from a media person asking him if Trevor Lawrence was okay. And I mean, this text really set Dabo off, or it gave him a cause, either one. Either way, he went all caps responding to the text. Said of his quarterback, he's fine. People keep creating drama. We don't have any drama on this team. People need to get over themselves. Said he was mad about the text all night. Boy, it's a good thing I thought twice, because I had a text all typed out for Dabo. It said, hey, man, relax. Is Trevor okay? Should be an easy one today. Lose to FSU? Question mark, question mark. LMAO. I shouldn't have hit send on that. I didn't. FaceTime with Dabo and Molly McGrath.
Trevor Lawrence told me he hasn't been at his best this season. What do you need to see from him in this game?
Yeah, well, he's you know, in my opinion, has done well in the first 4 games. He did not play his best against North Carolina. He didn't play terrible, but we, you know, he's got a high standard, and he's a great player. And in my 20 games with Trevor Lawrence, he's never had a game on the line in the fourth quarter. You know, he's always had big leads in the fourth quarter. So to see him in that situation, I was really proud of him. His leadership, his poise. Every one of us, coaches and players, there's things that we want to do better as we get into the second half of the season. But you can best believe Trevor, he's going to be just fine.
Thank you, Coach.
You got it.
Salty Dabo, salty Tigers. They're the dangerous ones. 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC.
Well, this is exactly what you'd want if you're Dabo Swinney. This is the perfect start to a season, because now you got a bye week, and instead of guys like me off season being like Trevor Lawrence would be the #1 pick in the NFL draft, now it's like, what's wrong with Trevor? Yeah. And you had a whole bye week in the first 4 weeks to hear it, as opposed to being the best team in college football history a year ago. And all. This is perfect for Clemson. All-in fans, you should be jacked up. You should be happy. Yeah. I think the reset button, I think you'll see the best version of Clemson this season against Florida State.
You know, I tell you, I think we're going to see the best version of Florida State too, though. I think Florida State back-to-back wins. We know they have the athletes. The culture had to be changed. And I think now they're gaining some confidence. If they're in this game early, this can be a close dogfight for Clemson. I think Clemson will win, but don't give Florida State more confidence. That can be dangerous.
Well, the best athletes they're going to face is today against Florida State. James Blackman's going to go, but Alex Hornibrook, you got a feeling, is going to at some point come in.
No doubt.
I think they're going to need him today. You know, I think you're right. I think it's premeditated, honestly. I think he is the king at creating some of this. I don't think he wants his offense to struggle. But if you go back to 16, when they won the national championship with Deshaun Watson, and look at the numbers in comparison to Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Look at these numbers. Keep in mind, this is through the first, through the first 5 games.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers and how similar they are. I remember that year thinking, it's a matter of time. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? He went on to finish second to Heisman, and they ended up winning the national title. So I think if you watch him on film, I think the one thing that may be guilty of is not being able to run the football the way they want to. And that's why I think they'll go back to today. Establish the line of scrimmage. Run Travis Etienne, because that's when that offense is humming, and that's when they set up their big play-action pass plays.
You know, you've already made fun of all the teams in the Coastal having a chance against Clemson, but what about one of the undefeated teams in the ACC, Wake Forest?
Yeah.
They've got a date coming up with Clemson, but first they have to get by Louisville. I would tell you, they've got an offense humming. Jamie Newman's been sensational. Wake leads the ACC in total offense and scoring. Sage Surratt has 6 touchdowns. That's the same as Jerry Jeudy. Louisville's given up a bunch of yards, but they're going to go with Mikael Cunningham at quarterback, and then Javian Hawkins. This is a top 20 rushing offense. Wake Forest probably ought to be careful here. That game's on the ACC network at 7:30 Eastern Time. Is Wake a legitimate threat at all here? ACC?
You know, no, they're not. I don't
Okay.
think they're a legitimate threat, but Clawson is 0-6 off of buys. I don't know
That's
why.
amazing.
I don't know why that happens, but sometimes those numbers just stick out, and Bear teaches you to kind of look at them and focus on them a little bit. That's interesting to me, but no, Newman's been great. I think they'll win today, but Wake Forest is good. They're a good team.
Well, that's what they are.
They're a good team.
And they're very efficient. Jamie Newman's been an amazing story. But I think Louisville with Scott Satterfield in the first year, they've made some changes at quarterback with Cunningham, running the ball a little bit more with the quarterback in play.
Right.
I think they could actually beat Wake today. I think Louisville has
calling
what takes. Yeah, I could call that. I'll say Louisville beat them.
So there's
With the little 2 quarterback system, huh? I got Wake.
You got Wake?
Yeah, I got Wake.
Where? What do you got?
That was one of the 2 games that I left 2 games off. There were 5 that I was considering.
But
and
you
I was
didn't pull
actually
the trigger.
considering going there. Didn't go the trigger.
Yeah.
Look, you know that I love Wake Forest, and I think they were a big season win total, but you look at the ACC wins, both were 1-possession wins.
Yep.
The Utah State win was a 1-possession win. I think it's a close game today. A game really close to throwing the old Cardinals up on the board today.
Everybody that pays attention to some of the things that Bear likes, you might want to really pay attention to Bear in these last 3 weeks. Guys.
He's on a tear.
Look at
He's on fire.
Look what he's been able to do. Yeah, I mean, in the last 3 weeks.
4, really.
Last 4 weeks.
Who's counting? The third week ago, the third week back was bad, but the week before.
Aren't you back-to-back 3-0 weeks?
Yeah, back-to-back 3-0, 9-2-1 in the last 4.
9-2-1.
So
if you're interested in a little bit of money here and there, Bear might be a guy you want to listen to.
Could you help me pick
If you like that money stuff, if you're into that stuff.
We'll find out. You're doing fine in Super Dogs right now. We're going to find out a little later.
You are.
Really? You keep winning the championship. You're like Clemson. You close strong. There are other teams out there. There's another sneaky game that somebody might like. It's the Super Dog today. They played in Philadelphia. Temple taking on Memphis. Memphis number 23. That is a tough defense that Temple rolls out there in our group of 5 slate.
No, and when you watch Memphis, it's pushing the ball down the field. They do it consistently, one of the highest completion percentages down the field, or just yards per attempt, and running the football better now. Kenneth Galloway rushing the football 3 straight 100-yard games. Temple, I tell you what, Temple has a shot. They're better at home than they are on the road. You see them consistently make plays. I think Temple has a chance to win this game.
How about the Cincinnati Bearcats?
Hey!
Houston, Luke Fickell rarely shows emotion. You can see how fired up he was last week, beating UCF. Desmond Ridder doing a nice job throwing this football. They've got enough balance. They're playing good defense. Today, can they show maturity after that big win last week to go on the road and take care of business against Houston?
How about Hawaii versus Boise State? 2 of the best quarterbacks in the Mountain West. Cole McDonald has 2 small but very effective targets in Cedric Byrd and JoJo Ward. And how about the freshman for Boise State, Hank Bachmeier, having a tremendous season. Started off with the win against Florida State, and he's been rolling ever since, and so have the Broncos.
Sitting there with Memphis undefeated, going to be undefeated when they walk out of the link today?
I think they've become that team, that group of 5 team. after UCF's been eliminated.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's been a good story, but I think Memphis has the offense. I think the difference is they're playing defense now.
Yeah.
Every game, Des, they're going to come in and have a chance to outscore you, but I don't think they don't necessarily have to do that. He's sitting around waiting for his super dog. I think he's very excited.
I don't know what you mean.
You don't like it?
I think they'll be fine.
I like Cincinnati a lot. I like the Bearcats. I like Luke Fickell and what he brings. The team plays with an edge. They're very physical. They've adopted his personality. I like what I saw when they played UCF. Cincinnati is a team you got to pay a lot of attention. The only losses to the Buckeyes in Columbus.
Yeah, and I think Boise today will get challenged by Hawaii. I think that's an interesting game to look out for. Boise doesn't run the football like they have in the past, but they're going to play good defense, especially in the red zone. They always do that. But today will be a good day for Boise to prove if they're that group of 5 best team. I think they can, but I think they're going to get challenged. Hawaii will throw it all over the yard.
Yeah.
Just showed you some of those guys.
Yeah,
They'll chuck it.
Dudes. Yeah. Cincinnati-Houston game, I think it bears watching as we continue to keep an eye on what's going on with the Cougars. You probably saw the tweet storm that Justin Murphy, who's a 6-year player who's no longer with the team, scathing criticism of Dana Holgorsen. Now, we talked to a veteran member of the Cougar squad who insists Holgorsen has not lost the team, but I think just those tweets underscores what you guys said when the De'Aaron King situation, the red shirt decision came up. Bears watching. Keep an eye. How does Houston play throughout the rest of the way? They've played pretty well under Clayton Tune, but it's only been one game so far. SportsCenter coming up tonight after college football. It's after Florida and LSU. Michael Eaves and Kenny Mayne. Coach O and Dan Mullen. Post-game press conferences will be live. College football teams are the easiest path to the playoff. Yankees and the Astros. Nationals and Cardinals game 2. It's all coming up. SportsCenter, ESPN, and the ESPN app. Checking in at Section 0. Here sharing a Coke with a lot of LSU fans. Hey, Mike's running that thing, the mascotted one. But I hope we have some shots of the real Tiger here pretty soon, too. That's one of the staples when you come to Baton Rouge is go visit Mike over in his den, Maria.
Yeah, I tried to check him out yesterday. Apparently he was sleeping, so I still haven't seen Mike the Tiger. But who we are going to talk about here on College Game Day, Jalen Hurts. He's already won a conference title at Alabama, a national championship, an SEC Offensive Player of the Year, but it's his first crack at Texas. Wright Thompson will walk us through the saga that is Jalen Hurts. Plus, this guy, Sam Ehlinger, he's taken on OU for the 4th time in his career. We'll go all access with the horns and the QB.
Let's go, left pass, hurry up, let's go.
Big Tex. Oklahoma and Texas square off in the Cotton Bowl, both undefeated. Last 3 times the Sooners have come in undefeated. They lost. Tom Herman said this week he couldn't wait to get on that bus and take the 4-hour ride from Austin to Dallas. And at first, a friend thought he was being sarcastic until it turned out Herman said, no, I'm going to get 4 solid hours of sleep. And a lot of late nights burning the midnight oil and preparing for the Sooners. But the one thing that makes Herman sleep like a baby? Knowing that he's got Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Ehlinger will butt heads with guys. He will bust chops. But when you know that you have him driving the bus, you rest easy. The Texas quarterback was wired up at practice this week.
Oh, we haven't played on grass yet. We have not. Looking forward to it. Come on, man. Let's go. I didn't want to take a sack because we're in Dicker's range. Good job, Dicker. Here we go. Jog off. Let's go. Left pass, hurry up, let's go. Bring it up. Hey, we're about to find out how much it means to you because they're doing the same up in Norman right now. But our Y's bigger. Understand that. We're going to win this because of how we prepared. Understand that right now. So finish this off with energy, encourage, and communicate. Let's go. Finish on 3, 1, 2, 3. Finish.
I went to practice down there during camp this year, and to watch Ehlinger not just run his offense, coach the defensive backs, why you're on that hash, you're too far over here, kind of get under Tom Herman's skin. He sort of epitomizes what it is to be a great leader. And last night, Gene Wojciechowski spoke with Sam Ehlinger.
Sam, you've never lacked for confidence. What gives you confidence that this Texas team can beat a favored Oklahoma team?
The way that we prepared this week. We had the best week of practice that we've had all season. Each and every week we've gotten better, and we're really excited to play.
What do you need to do to be successful against OU?
Just stay within the confines of the offense, distribute the ball to our playmakers because we have a lot of them, and let them go do their thing.
All right, thank you for the time.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Sam, Gene, thank you very much. Hear from Gene and Horns down a little bit later on. Now, look at the Oklahoma defense. I'm not saying they're world beaters, but they've improved.
Yeah.
And we'll find out how much they're improved against Ellinger and the Horns today.
Yeah, this is going to be key. This is when you really feel as though your defense is going to have to step up. They've been pretty blessed this year because they have such an explosive offense. They haven't been any shootouts. They really haven't been tested because of the way Jalen Hurts runs that offense. I think now their defense is finally going to be tested, and this is when you see just how strong and how resilient this group is going to be because Texas is going to come at them. You know that with Sam Ellinger.
Yeah. The reality is we, again, know nothing about Oklahoma's defense.
Right.
And they look good. The numbers look good. Haven't played anybody. So against Sam Ellinger and these receivers, Colin Johnson, by the way, back into the boundary, one-on-one can be a nightmare with his length. And also they have so much speed to the field. And then you have a quarterback that understands how to attack. He's healthy. So this is where we really find out. It's not if OU's good enough to play defensively, but bigger picture, are they good enough for teams like LSU and Alabama in the playoff? Because I don't know until you see today.
Under the new defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, they're forcing a lot more turnovers. But the secret is they're playing well on third down and getting the ball to the Oklahoma offense. Hello. You get that ball to Oklahoma offense, you're in big-time trouble opposed to the opponent.
That is true. Any of you gentlemen interested in $100?
Yes, we are.
Of course. Okay. $100 right here. We've seen it all in Oklahoma, Texas over the years, right? Today, the Oklahoma defense will see something that no team in this rivalry has ever seen. Have any idea what it is? It's a guarantee, something that's never happened that will happen today.
No idea.
Quick kick.
None. Yeah, quick kick.
Bear, you got anything?
You said quick kick.
You got it, Bear?
I don't.
Okay. Wide receiver from Texas, John Burt, will play against the Sooners for the 6th time in his career. Has never happened. They used the red shirt rule last year and activated him for the 2 games.
Okay.
Very good.
And he's back again. He might play him 7 times. There was one guy that potentially in the early 1900s might have done it. They can't verify it. So he'll be the first.
Impressive.
Congratulations.
Impressive.
Safe.
That's good.
Well, you guys took so much of the money by paying attention. Friday Night Lights, Oregon and Colorado. And I'll tell you what, highlighter uniforms, Justin Herbert was a highlight, 34 straight games with a touchdown pass.
They were able to do a lot of things that they wanted to do offensively. The big thing was they were able to create turnovers, 4 turnovers. And this is what you've expected from Oregon really all year. And this is a win that they needed before next week on their trip up to Seattle in a rivalry game against the Huskies.
And look at this play right here. The officials would take another look at this and say that the foot got down, stopping a scoring opportunity for Colorado, and Herbert runs. Jalen Red for the touchdown, 261 yards, couple of touches, an easy victory for Cristobal's team, 45-3. And that brings us to their biggest fans, Dave and Barb Wright from Gameday Done Right on the Instagram. They're following us all over the country. Wherever we go, they go, and they make some side trips along the way. Went through Jackson, Mississippi, visiting a lot of historical sites. Went by the State Fair to see Big Tech, maybe get a fried Oreo. And then,
how about it?
Into Baton Rouge, just in time to watch their beloved Ducks last night, I'm sure, lay it to them. There they are.
Holy man.
We're going to have to take them out to dinner before this.
I know,
right?
I think we should.
Yeah,
Started in Disney in Orlando, right? Week
Pretty
0.
impressive.
The Pac-12 has great game day traditions, like
They do.
David Bard now and Old Crimson for 233 in a row. And Old Crimson's been flying at half staff for a while. See if we can get going against Arizona State.
Yeah, I tell you what, Washington State, Arizona State, 2 different ends of the spectrum when it comes to confidence. The Cougars come off of back-to-back losses, and Coach Leach addressed that, got pushed around the field by Utah. And how about Herm Edwards and Arizona State? 4-1, but just keep finding ways to win. I really like what I see so far from the Sun Devils.
Des, how about Utah and Oregon State? Oregon State, last week, Luton, 5 touchdown passes, doing a good job of spreading it around to Hodges and then and also Artavius Pierce. Utah, though, different kind of defense. They do a nice job of attacking, obviously, at the line of scrimmage. And good news, it looks like Zach Moss, who they need in that backfield, is expected back today.
They better be careful. Beef can score.
I know.
Washington and Arizona. Khalil Tate coming off a 400-yard performance, spinning the magic bean against Colorado. You know, Huskies haven't seen him before. First time he's played against him. Arizona's the only Pac-12 South team unbeaten, and I'll tell you what, Washington was inexplicably bad against Stanford. Jacob Eason has had issues with pressure, had some problems with drops. Watch for them to go with more slobber-knocking football today and see if they can get it straightened out. You see the ranked Pac-12 teams. Oregon's already won. Utah and Arizona State still sitting in there. Both of those other teams with road tests. But I noticed that our friend the Bear over here he's got Washington on the board already, huh?
Yeah, he does.
Interesting. Early in the week, I thought like Arizona might be an attractive underdog that could potentially win outright. I've totally flipped on it. I think Washington today, there's a little bit of value, especially with the number being down to 5.5 at Caesars. You look at Arizona, the 4-1 rallied since winning at Hawaii, but needed that missed field goal by UCLA. Texas Tech was a struggle. Colorado's defense is terrible. You saw that. I don't know. Washington, I think, typically takes care of teams like this that kind of turn the ball over a lot. I think Arizona turns the ball over. I think Easton, those wide receivers, Ahmed have big games. I think they get right. And I think Washington wins comfortably. It's a pretty big game next week in Seattle.
Yeah. You know, their offensive coordinator, Bush Hamden, is under some fire right now because they've been so poor on offense.
Yeah, and I think this is a good week for their offense because of the Arizona secondary. He's going to throw for a lot of yards in this game. Khalil Tate, man, is having a monster year. The problem is he's playing all his games when everyone's asleep. So nobody knows that he's out there doing what he's doing. This is one of those shootouts, those games that goes back and forth. But I think Jacob Eason and Washington win it.
Arizona's a hot team, though.
Yeah.
They've won 4 in a row, and they've unbeaten at home. They have a balanced offense. They got to play much better on defense. A shootout in Tucson today. Not so fast, my friend, old Boo.
This is Washington's type of game. I mean, last week, David Shaw, they really slowed the game down, and Jacob Eason, he couldn't get in the rhythm, only completed 44% of his passes. Khalil Tate came out of nowhere, out of his injury, and had over 400 yards. I think it's going to be a shootout. I like Washington to win a close one. I got the Huskies.
I like Arizona.
You guys know as the season goes on, there's different turns, there's wins, there's tough losses. Washington State. Remember Mike Leach after they lost, the comments that he made about his team were
soft and entitled.
They had a bye week.
Right.
So 2 weeks to get ready for Herm and Arizona State. That's going to be an interesting game. I want to see how Washington State responds to their coach publicly coming after him.
You know, the other thing they've done, too, they changed the defensive coordinator, or Tracy Clay's resigned, and you looked at their depth chart, they had no fewer than a half dozen changes. Now, some guys just going back to positions they used to play, but they've mixed it up.
Be interesting.
Leach says that they're going to be much simpler. You know, there's one other game, it's outside the Pac-12 that bears noting. Brigham Young plays at USF today, and the Cougars are going to start Jaron Hall at quarterback. First African-American to start at quarterback for BYU. His dad, Kalen, played there, so wish him the best as the Cougars take on USF. College Game Day rolling from Baton Rouge on a chilly morning. Again, they get really upset around Texas if you put the horns in the wrong direction.
It's actually kind of flattering that we're on so many other people's minds that they've got to continue to use that disrespectful hand symbol.
Now Herman's spinning it, but you know they don't like it. And welcome to Death Valley. Our buddy Jesse Palmer has a story that tells you just how tough it is to come in here.
There's no doubt that the fans in that stadium that night affected the outcome of that game. We were a way better team. The #1 Florida Gators go down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And that I finally learned the definition of what a hostile environment means. I was playing for the Florida Gators. I was a true freshman. We were the #1 team in the country going to play at LSU. And I never forget pulling up in the bus. I remember looking out the window, and there was this really sweet old lady. And even the 93-year-old grandma very slowly raised her hand. And I mean, like, it was, I was sitting there, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no doubt that the fans in that stadium that night affected the outcome of that game. We were a way better team. The #1 Florida Gators go down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I remember being on the bus after the game, and they were rocking it back and forth. We couldn't even leave the stadium. And I thought to myself in the back of the bus that night, this really, really sucks we lost this game, but how great is college football?
That was an awesome story. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, introducing the newest honorary member of the College Football Hall of Fame, the Goodyear blimp. Goodyear is more driven. And I'm sure Spurrier said to him, not your fault, Jesse, us dumb coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Put you in the game. You were there that night.
There. College Game Day was there. Lee Corso said the only way LSU wins is if a hurricane hits Baton Rouge. And, of course, that motivated them, fired them up. They brought the goalpost to our set.
Wow.
Right outside of the basketball arena, because we used to do segments late.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're looking out over, here comes the goalpost up the hill. Oh, my God. That was a
Hey,
wild.
Corso, you got anything to say now?
That's what they wanted.
They wanted a little passionate about their football down here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit of a different vibe, right? I mean, it's
completely.
It's
totally.
really intimidating for the players to come in here to try to deal with it. You got to weather the storm early.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, these fans, they love their Tigers.
Yeah.
They're all about their Tigers.
You know,
it's a very intimidating stadium, too.
Oh, my God. I think
especially at night.
I think when they're good and they're playing a good team, I think it's one of the most, it's probably the most intimidating. I'll tell you, I remember College Game Day came when Georgia played LSU. I picked Georgia, and I was confident that Pollock and Georgia would win. And they had a kicker named Billy Bennett.
Oh, my God.
Billy Bennett.
Seriously?
Look, bro. Look. Oh, my God, 30, what are you doing? You're killing me.
Are you serious?
I'm getting yelled at in the stands, cussing at me. I'm like, can Billy Bennett make a field goal?
Are you kidding me?
What was that like for you, Pollock?
Oh, my God.
Was that fun?
I'll never forget. Coach Rick came to me after the game and was like, hey, man, you know, we're going to need Billy the rest of the season and make sure you're don't say anything negative.
Yeah.
Y'all know me, right?
Hey,
First thing out, what do you think about Billy missing the field goals? You're a kicker. You kick. Make your. Oh, my God.
So you mean to tell me you wasn't like Jesse, like you wasn't on the bus saying, man, we lost, but
what is that crap? By the
football is really great.
No, absolutely not.
This is great.
I was irate, but these fans. No, I vividly remember going to the game and them shaking the bus and getting mooned and like them throwing the ball after you kick an extra point all the way to the top of the stadium and throwing out of the stadium. I'm just like, what is wrong with these people? It's incredible.
What about when you walked out and you saw Mike the Tiger?
Scares the bejesus at. Oh, Lord have mercy. They don't give you the heads up, man. You just walk out there and oh, God, there's a tiger right there, literally right next to you.
Hey, you know, we've talked about this, Kirk, but this really is what separates this sport, not just here, but the environments and the impact it can have on the outcome.
You know, we were at the Swamp last week. We saw the impact that crowd on the game. Now we're here in Death Valley, and I'm sure they're thinking that they're going to have a big impact on the outcome of the game. And that's the beauty. When you're a receiver, you're a defensive player, quarterback, you welcome going into that atmosphere. If you're a great team, you want that challenge. You want to be tested. And I'm sure you felt you were going to go in there and win that game. Kicker didn't come through for you, but you guys played well enough to win that game, except for old Billy Bennett. He's still pissed. Look at his face.
I mean, that's
totally opposite of Jesse Palmer, right?
Well, that's coming up later on the show.
This guy
is going to join us. The real version. We got the signs here. Oh, man, what a morning here in Baton Rouge. Of course, they have championship aspirations at LSU with this newfangled offense, and that is what they are playing for, the College Football National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper.
Just think, poor Billy Bennett eating his Cheerios this morning.
I y'all just put
We're crushing him.
Y'all put Billy on blast this morning.
Billy Bennett had one job. Poor Billy, he's having a good day.
One job this morning, man.
See that kick you guys going to talk about? And Lincoln Riley says the Sooners won't be doing any horns down, but Barry Switzer has something to say about this.
If someone gives you the finger, you usually give them the finger back. It's not being disrespectful. It's just saying, hey, you're a Texas fan, I'm not a Texas fan.
Some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms around me. Live in a small town where it feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't.
A chilly morning here in Baton Rouge, but they are getting lathered up. Gators come calling tonight. Best Saturday we've had in terms of ranked teams squaring off. Coming up on College Game Day, Penn State, one of those teams. Cobb road test in Iowa in a gold out. Story of how the team has rallied around a teammate when he needed it most. Jalen Hurts gets his first taste of the Red River rivalry. Wright Thompson on the Jalen Hurts saga as only he can deliver. And mark it 0. Next frame, actor John Goodman is our celebrity guest picker. You know, he once played an LSU football player. And everybody's All-American. And, of course, those headgear, of course, is all coming up on this morning from Baton Rouge. SEC showdown here. And not too far away, there's the Big 12 rivalry game between Texas and Oklahoma being played for the 115th time in 91st year that they're playing in Dallas. This time the old Cotton Bowl. You got the big Ferris wheel, got the Coney dogs, fried Oreos, all that good for you, health food. Right on the balanced diet. I got a little interesting nugget about the time that Texas has come in ranked exactly 11th. Bit of an oddity. And this, you see Tom Herman coming in as Coach Zero Sugar counts us down to kickoff. You know that 3 times that Texas has been ranked exactly 11th in this game. 63-14, 65-13, 55-17, LLL.
Yes, sir.
To Oklahoma every time. With a big Texas flag. Remember when they rolled that baby out to start college game day
in Austin. That was nice. Special. That was
good moment. Yep. They'll roll it out in the Cotton Bowl.
One tunnel. Both of them come down. That's a different setup there. I love it.
And, you know, there's some of those moments like going down the tunnel or watching Switzer with that Beat Texas hat on. This is 1984. Todd Dodge looks like he's picked off by Keith Stanberry, but they call it incomplete. So the Horns going for the tie. And there it is. Texas was number 1.
Look at Switzer. That was an interception, my friend. 2 words, Oh, man.
2001.
Here comes Roy Williams flying through the air.
Our buddy Chris Sims. Woo! Teddy Lehman. Boomer. 14-3. Hey, you see what he did? Oh, good. How about 2008? Now, Texas still salty about this because they won the head-to-head matchup. Jordan Shipley scored, and Texas would go on to lose to Texas Tech. All 3 have 1 loss, and Oklahoma played for the title.
That's right. Well, that was a great game with those quarterbacks going back and forth against each other.
Fake punt got stuffed.
Yeah, that was hype.
Great game. And Colt McCoy, Sam Bradford, Aaron Chris Obaniah going for 62, and Texas won at 45-35. Left out of the national championship. And of course, in that stadium, Kirk mentioned going right down the tunnel. Both teams in there. The stadium will be half crimson, half burnt orange. Gene Wojciechowski joins us now. And Gene, they'll have that old horn signal. Horns up on one side and horns down on the other.
You know, Reese at a Texas pep rally on November 11th, 1955, Hook 'em Horns made its first ever public appearance, and it was a huge success. It became the official sign of the university. Meanwhile, Oklahoma's official sign is 1, as in there's only 1 Oklahoma. But their unofficial sign, well, is horns down. As you might imagine, you don't mess with Texas, and you don't mess with Hook 'em Horns.
Every teacher tells the story of famed sign, and that was me.
The most iconic hand gesture in college football was born almost exactly 64 years ago. Its father was a Texas student named H.K. Pitts.
At that moment, I had a moment of insight, and I said, that would make a great sign for the Longhorns, Hook 'em Horns like this. And the rest is history, as they say.
But even the 88-year-old Pitts knows that when it comes to Texas and Oklahoma, what goes up must come down.
Texas has their signal, it's the horns up, but then when it comes to that second weekend of October, it's always horns down.
I think it's amusing, and of course I have a couple of relatives that go to OU. They couldn't make it to UT, so we have to go where they can.
Someone gives you the finger, you usually give them the finger back. It's not being disrespectful, it's just saying, hey, you're a Texas fan, I'm not a Texas fan.
Barry Switzer isn't a Texas fan. Bob Stoops isn't. Kyler Murray isn't. This classroom isn't. And these people definitely aren't. In fact, horns down stretches from West Texas to West Virginia.
Quarterback keep. Greer running for the end zone. Will Greer's in. 2-point conversion.
You make a big play or you score a touchdown against the Longhorns, you just put the horns down. Kind of like saying, We up one on y'all.
It's part of the rivalry. It's healthy, it's friendly, it's nothing.
It's not nothing to Texas. The Longhorns are doing a slow orange burn.
I think when someone does the horns down, it's just a little extra motivation to go a little bit harder.
It's actually kind of flattering that we're on so many other people's minds that they've got to continue to use that disrespectful hand symbol.
I have so much love for UT in this program that when people do that, you got to protect your family. It's like, okay, we're going to come after you type deal.
And then there is Eddie Radosevich, the pacifist, the peacemaker. Radosevich is an Oklahoma graduate who leads a movement that preaches love, not hook 'em hate.
Horns up for peace. I'm standing up for humanity. I'm standing up for children that maybe will grow up in a society where the horns down could be displayed at school. That's what I'm here for. People just walking by, knowing that the movement is real.
But Eddie, you went to Oklahoma.
I get that a lot. I'm just here for peace.
For the moment, there is peace and quiet across the horns down landscape.
Our players won't do it. So, our players won't do it.
But if they do, the Big 12 Conference has a deterrent.
A penalty marker has been thrown in the back of the end zone.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 13.
It's a penalty now to do that. People are soft. That's what I'm saying.
Horns down isn't going anywhere. And that's okay with the originator.
What was that play, Shakespeare? Much Ado About Nothing? There are a lot of things that are more important than two rival teams. You're trying to irritate one another. That's part of the game. That's all part of it.
HK actually has a document that says that he deeded the rights to hook 'em to the University of Texas for exactly $1. HK said it was never about the money. He just wanted to contribute to the legacy of the university. But he says modestly that he thinks it's one of the great legacies in sports history. And Reese, it's not as picking Texas in the upset today.
Well, across the board, Gene, LSU fans have already defeated Texas and put the horns down literally. Are doing that. I love what H.K. Pitts said. He said, you know what, I'm a libertarian. You can do what you want to. Yeah. They get a little too upset about this sometimes.
I think if you're a Texas fan, it's not fun. For us, we just kind of look at it like, it's part of what makes college football, right?
You take it with a sense of humor.
Yeah,
that's right.
One way or the other, get about it.
If Texas lets people know it bothers them, guess what? You're
going to get more than 100%. Right, exactly. If you don't like it, then stop them.
Right.
Right. That's right. Keep them out the end zone.
Yeah.
And on that subject, they've had some close games lately. Remember, Texas still has the golden hat. That wasn't up for grabs in the Big 12 championship game. So.
Well, I think one of the things that stands out clearly, we keep talking about these quarterbacks, and the one thing to me that stands out is Oklahoma's defense, or the Texas defense, because they've had so many injuries this year on the back end. They're 126th in the country, allowing over 300 yards a game through the air. Now, the good news is they get healthy. They are able to come back this week with a lot of those players, especially the safeties. But to me, if they can't stop the run, then they're going to be sitting there giving up big plays because to stopping the run and pressuring the quarterback, the only two chances they have. Otherwise, they're going to give up huge numbers.
Oklahoma is loaded on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
On offense, listen to this. They're the only team in the nation that scored 45 or more points in every game this year.
Wow.
Oh, and defense, they're getting some extra turnovers.
Yep.
But remember, they're 10-point favorites in this game. Remember, last year, they were favored at the same time against Texas and lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
I tell you what, the Longhorns, they've been battle-tested. They've been battle-tested, obviously, playing against LSU. It was a shootout. They know they're resilient. They won't quit. They have a lot of fight in them. Their defense, they've been struggling so far this season, but this is a rivalry game. This is Oklahoma. This is the game that you go to Texas for. This is the game that you get up for. Believe me, you're going to see a different Texas defense today against Oklahoma.
Everybody just assuming it's a two-team conference, and we'll see him again in the Big 12 championship game as we take a look at Reese's Go for Two. There might be a couple other teams sort of lurking around out there that want to try to Upset things, Des.
I tell you what, how about Iowa State and West Virginia? Now, Iowa State's quarterback, Brock Purdy, had a 100-yard rushing game, the first of his career with 2 touchdowns. We know he can throw the ball, but now he's turned into a dual-threat quarterback. And West Virginia's Austin Kendall threw not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 interceptions against Texas. He's going to have to value the ball better and win the turnover battle if they're going to beat Iowa State.
How about Texas Tech at Baylor? This is a Baylor team that just keeps getting better. Good news for Baylor. Charlie Brewer is expected to play, throwing the football very, very well this year. Jet Duffy throwing. He's got to be able to make some plays with his legs today because this Baylor defense, guys, getting better every single week.
Baylor trying to go 6-0 LC. Baylor, Texas Tech, in trouble today. What do you got?
Well, listen, Baylor wins the old-fashioned way on defense. 16 points a game, one of the best teams in the nation. And they run the ball and they had no interceptions this year. There's an interesting point here. In case it matters, they got Oklahoma and Texas and Waco later on in the year.
I know. There's one person among the whole group here on the set that's like Baylor all year.
You.
Really?
Not me.
No.
The guy over there.
Across the
guy over there.
Across the way.
Reese just made an interesting point. People assume OU, Texas, not just today, but in the championship. You think Baylor's going to get there?
I don't think we see Texas, Oklahoma 2 in the Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
I think if Oklahoma wins today, I think Texas ultimately will be out, and I think we get Baylor or Iowa State.
I think Iowa State's still sneaking around.
Iowa State's still in there today
too.
if they can win out. By the way, that Red River game, my good friend John Murray from the Superbook checking in out in Las Vegas, they are inundated with Texas money. The world's on Texas today.
Uh-oh, really?
Be warned.
That means you're on OU now, right?
That would mean Oklahoma would probably be the preferred. If I were betting the game right now with that information, I would take Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Real quick, tightly, explain why that matters again, because Des everything.
Typically, when the public and large number of people are on an underdog side, that look, oh, that's way too many points. They've been great as an underdog. Typically, the favorites wind up winning.
Okay.
We'll so typically, if that was my super dog,
typically you might want to reassess the situation right now. Then,
I tell you, I like the way he continues to throw you under the bus and say, "We know Desmond."
No, he doesn't. I can feel Dez's brain going, "What is that?"
Layman's term.
Bear goes deep in the well with all of his
Iowa, Michigan last week. Everybody loved Iowa last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see. A lot of people loving the Horns and getting the points right now. David Maria out there with those who had a singular job.
Yeah, you're right, Reese. And we gave David a job. He has one job. Can you hold the selfie stick up?
I got it.
See if we can use it together.
I got it, dude.
Yeah, look at the
See, look at that.
They're getting hype over here.
Can you move, though? Can you move?
Can
you got one job.
Can we move?
There you go.
Let's do it. It's time for You Had One Job, presented by Geico. And let's start with some fans that had a really good, not a great time. Look at Haley Solomon just knitting during the weather delay.
First of all,
during the Kansas-Oklahoma game.
I didn't know anybody knitted anymore. I didn't know that was a thing. But
okay, it's crocheting, and it's very hip.
It's crocheting?
Yeah,
okay.
It's crocheting. It's a big deal right now.
Cool.
Okay, Dawson Knox getting flipped trying to go for the hurdle. Stay down next time?
Yeah. I usually hurdle when people go at your legs, not when they're hitting you up high.
Yeah.
That's going to leave a mark.
Right to the midsection. That one hurts just a little bit. Okay, Bailey Hockman getting drilled on the pass attempt, but here's the kicker. The N in Hockman it's on backwards. Look at that. So let's get that together.
That's
how David would do
That's the equipment people. I probably would mess it up too, but this was awesome.
I think they did their job on this one.
This was more interesting than the offenses for both teams by far.
Don't do that to Michigan.
That's true, though.
You're right.
This is more impressive than Michigan's offense.
10-3. Okay, it was a defensive battle, but the drummers did their job on that one. Okay, this one, Bryson Carroll.
He's going.
He's going.
Touchdown.
57
the 30,
yards.
the 20, the 10, the 3, and he dropped the ball. Hey, Deshaun. Come on, bro.
Oh, we see that once every single time.
Come on, dude.
Come on, right?
What are you doing? That's like not knowing how to operate a selfie stick,
That's
man.
Exactly what it's
you can't do that,
You're
man.
You're doing a good job, though. He doesn't even know what a selfie is, but he held the selfie
very
stick.
Easy, very easy. I got this.
You don't.
I do.
I think he knows the selfie stick. I don't know anybody that enjoys looking at himself in the mirror more than Pollock does. UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Tampa, Joanna Jędrzejczyk taking on Michelle Watterson in a strong weight main event. Both looking for a title fight. Order the main card, English or Spanish, ESPNplus.com. Download it and watch it on the app. Coke Zero Sugar counting us down to kick off Between the Hedges. South Carolina and Georgia. Dogs off to that 5-0 start. Will Muschamp, going back to his alma mater, hasn't had a lot of success against them. Jim Harbaugh on the road. Man, the next 2 weeks for Michigan. They got Penn State, Notre Dame. Can't get caught peeking ahead. Will Jim see his former quarterback, Brandon Peters? Going to be a game-time decision, Levy says. Coke Zero Sugar counting us down to kick off ESPN 2. Temple and Memphis. Memphis, one of the 16 undefeated teams left in college football, in a tough venue against a very good defense coming up on ESPN 2. Celebrity guest picker is John Goodman. Lives in New Orleans. He's brought to you by our friends at Wheels Up. So John Goodman, who has a long list of great films, will join us. Played a little college football, as Joe Burrow does for LSU. Heisman frontrunner, and Tom Rinaldi caught up with him this week.
What are some of the superstitions you have?
So I'll wear one sock inside out, and they're hard to put on. So I would just put them on how they were, and I realized that, one of them always came inside out. So I just kept doing it, and it's just something that happens now.
You'll learn much more about the not-so-ordinary Joe coming up. And for our fans at home, stay tuned. More Pizza Hut home team fan later on in the show.
You can't have a game without the fans. And you can't have football without the Hut.
I think we're just DBU.
LSU is DBU.
DBU on what? What? DBU. Look at the track record. Look at the guys in the NFL.
Patrick Peterson with a huge interception and return.
Texas came in and said they were DBU. We showed them that we're the only DBU there is.
I think we're leading the whole nation in takeaways right now, interceptions and all that.
Intercepted. Donovan Steiner.
It's just always been that competition between us.
That's one of the subplots. Both of these believe that they're the 100% DBU. Purple and gold believes it, so too does orange and blue, but there are other contenders since 2010. Alabama and LSU have had the most defensive backs drafted in the first round. So settle this debate for me, Herb Street. Who's the real DBU?
Boy, I give LSU the advantage there. And I'll tell you, in the last 3 years, Ohio State is definitely in the mix. But I like LSU over Florida.
LSU has always been first in my mind, and he still are. LSU, there's no question about it.
Yeah, I saw Ryan Clark here earlier today, and Ryan Clark and that group of DBs that they produced here, I would say it's the Tigers of LSU.
Yeah.
Longevity, the history of it. I mean, it's been going on here for a long
remember Tyrann Mathieu?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, he was outstanding.
Yeah, different level.
And on the subject of long-standing traditions like DBU, this one has a little bit of history between these two teams. Pizza Hut game day traditions for the Florida LSU rivalry. Remember 2003? Here comes Florida, number 6 LSU. Chris Leak, the Seatric Faison. Florida up 19-7. This would be the only loss LSU suffered that year on the way to the national championship.
Boy, that one, Florida 19-7 against Nick Saban, a young Nick Saban.
Yeah,
Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp sneaking around there.
Look at the head. Look at the clap for the hat, too. Hester hit 5 fourth-down attempts. Jacob Hester going in there, plunging in for the score. LSU number 1. They beat Tebow and the Gators 28-24.
Where Tim gave the phone, like he somehow his cell phone got out. He scored a touchdown and gave the sign. This is where he got spicy.
2016, tempers flared.
Jamal Adams.
Remember Austin Appleby, Tyree Cleveland, 98. Shaking off one of those DBs from DBU.
That's right.
Get off me. And Darius Guy stopped short. And the Gators came in, rescheduled game, and won it 16-10. Now the next chapter will unfold tonight in Tiger Stadium. Lloyd Cushenberry put a copy, he's the center for LSU, put a copy of the offensive line stats in every lineman's locker, Tom Rinaldi. 5 sacks, 8 quarterback pressures. He wants to make sure there's no repeat in front of Joe Burrow.
Well, Joe Burrow's not going to need a lot of motivation here. Go back to when he was in 3rd grade, Reese, and first started playing football. He thought his position might be wide receiver or running back or play on defense like everyone in his family has ever played. His youth coach came to him and said, "We'd like you to play quarterback." Joe responded by saying, "I really don't want to." That's when his dad, Jimmy, a coach himself, said, "Joe, you do what the coach asks you to do. We want you to play quarterback." He's been doing that ever since. But if all you know about Burrow is the quarterback, you don't know Joe.
Burrow fires, and it's caught for the touchdown.
Burrow's got time, and he's got 6.
It's just too easy right now for Joe Burrow.
I feel like there's two me's. Me that's on the field and the me off the field.
After Joe makes the touchdown, he comes back out and beating his chest.
I think when you get on the field, you have to flip a switch if you want to be one of the greats.
And that might be the knockout punch. He's got a little ornery streak to him there. He's waving goodbye.
Student section was right behind us. They were talking behind me the whole time, so I just thought I'd give them a little innocent wave after I scored that last touchdown.
You're the latest in a long lineage of athletes in your family. Your grandmother, Dot, what was her claim to fame?
82 points in a basketball game in high school. I wish there was some film of that one.
When you think of the fact that Kobe made his claim to fame scoring 81 and Dot dropped 82.
Never thought about that. Is my grandmother better than Kobe Bryant? I don't know.
Your two brothers.
Both played at Nebraska, along with my dad.
What interest did they show in you, Joe?
None. None.
Any message to the folks back in Husker land?
Nope.
There's a lot more to Joe Burrow than quarterback. Cartoon fan.
Big cartoon fan, absolutely. SpongeBob, Looney Tunes, all that kind of stuff.
The cartoon character most like you?
Ooh. Squidward. Squidward from SpongeBob, yeah.
Why?
A lot of things anger him, and I try not to be that way, but that happens to me sometimes.
Joe Burrow, the student of science.
Yeah.
You remember your answer to the last topic you had Googled when we asked you at SEC Media Days?
Superluminal time travel.
What is it?
So the thought is that if you go faster than the speed of light, time actually slows down. That's the gist of it. And so you could go through time forward and backwards by doing that.
Difference between a black hole and a white hole.
So the black hole sucks everything in and the white hole basically spits everything out. That's the gist.
Burrow keeps it, dives into the end zone.
What was the perception of LSU's offense?
Stone Age.
How would you describe your offense right now, Joe?
Explosive.
LSU looks unstoppable.
If I were to have said to you a year ago, Joe, 54 points a game, leading the nation, honestly, what would you have said?
A year ago this week, I would have told you were crazy. And then when, after the season we got going in January, I said, that's all? So many playmakers, great coaching staff, great scheme. The sky's the limit for us.
There were so many other topics we touched on with Joe, but a part of the Burrow brand is toughness. And that goes all the way back to Ohio State, where remarkably, Joe Burrow, despite leaving the program, is still beloved. Here's an example of that toughness, Reese. He went to Urban Meyer when he was there with a broken hand as a backup quarterback with a request. Can I please play on the kickoff coverage team? He was not able to do that. Guess what, Joe? I don't think they're going to put you on the kickoff coverage team here either. But he is finding a way to contribute in other ways, we think.
You think? A little bit. I love the "that's all." Yeah. And also quite an endorsement for the education here at LSU with all the things they were talking about. Now look at, they've corrected the spelling of Joe's name, both first and last, in tradition with Louisiana. There was a game earlier this year where the coaching staff knew Joe a little bit, and they were trying to get under his skin, and he went, we'll put 500 on you today. And he did. Teammates love that, right?
They really do. And I was at practice the other day, and I spoke to some of the receivers. I spoke to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. They talked about the leadership of this young man, Joe. And they said this guy, during the summer, we would get together and we would go down the route tree and we would work the red zone. So what you see on Saturdays, it didn't happen by accident. We really worked hard because we respect Joe. We respect his leadership. A year ago, they were very young. They didn't know what they had in Joe Burrow. He didn't know what he had in them. But now when they brought Joe Brady in from the Saints, he put it all together. Joe Brady has a tremendous amount of confidence in his quarterback, and he gives him a lot of freedom on the field to change plays, too.
Yeah. I'm going to read this because I don't want to forget this. Joe Burrow leads a team that has scored more points in 5 games than any other football team in the history of the SEC. Ever.
Wow.
Well, that says about it. That's how he's playing. He's great quarterback.
Coach O deserves a ton of credit for recognizing that he needed to make a change.
Yeah.
I love the phrase when Tom asked Joe about how would you describe your offense from last year? He said Stone Age. It's exactly what LSU has been. They run the football, I formation, 2 receivers out, in an era where everyone else is running spread. So he decides to bring in Joe Brady with Steve Insminger, and they have developed a scheme right now. I've never seen an offense go from where they were one year to where they are this year, and I've never seen a quarterback go from last year. People didn't even talk about Joe Burrow to this year. This kid's going to be a first-round draft choice because of the way he's executing this offense. So. Kid is a monster.
Well, anybody that can throw 6 touchdowns getting off the bus, like that sign that's over your shoulder says there. You know, but if this is the best defense that he's going to see,
yes, it is.
And Dan Mullen's great at scheming. If nothing else, he might have to find a way to try to keep him off the field, right?
Yeah. I think the matchup with Todd Grantham going up with the defensive coordinator from Florida, and the athletes that he has, the defensive ends that he has, the way he can pressure the court, best defense by far that Joe Burrow has seen. Now, we don't know if it's going to stop Burrow, but it's good against good. It'll be a fun way to see how this game ends up going.
One thing Jim told me about Dan Mullen is halftime adjustments. The guy is terrific.
Big time.
The Gators have outscored their opponents 112-17 in the second half this year. 112-17. Yo.
I'd be curious to see how he plays as quarterback, too. Is he going to use him in the running game? Don't forget, Kyle Trask went out, came back in the game with a knee injury, came back with a big knee brace on against Auburn. Played fantastic, but now how is he going to play in this game? How is Dan Mullen going to use him?
Yeah, we've got a lot more coming on Florida and LSU. Some other games in the SEC coming up today, the SEC slate, including old Rocky Top wearing some orange pants today.
Going with the orange pants?
Really? Looking like a creamsicle.
Brian Mauer's brought a little spunk to this offense. He got some playmakers, and he's finally distributing the football and doing a nice job with that. Mississippi State has a team that desperately needs to be able to show up and play well. We're not sure who's going to go yet at quarterback. Whoever plays, they need more balance today of running and throwing.
Tell you what, Ole Miss against Mizzou. Kelly Bryant went out with a knee injury. He was on the sideline and crutches. They say he's going to be able to go today, but they're going to miss Cale Garrett. Torn pectoral muscle. This guy was the leader on defense. He's going to be missed, especially because Ole Miss loves to run the ball. They average 234 yards per game, 5 yards per carry.
South Carolina and Georgia, DeAndre Swift had to split carries. He hasn't had 100 yards since the opener. Fromm sitting in the pocket, barely getting touched, but South Carolina can get pressure in the middle. Javon Kinlaw, he's tied for the SEC lead in sacks. Muschamp talked this week about pressuring the pocket from inside out, and certainly you know that Kinlaw can do that. The one game I'm kind of interested in, I'm interested in all of them, but the Tennessee game, you got the guy living on the top of the car dealership until Tennessee gets a win. Probably need to send a change of address form out for him. Vols pull one off today?
You know, it's hard to say that they can. I mean, they're capable, but I feel better about their offense with this young kid playing. I think Missouri's an interesting story because it was a team that we thought could be 8-0 going to Athens. They lose to Wyoming to start the season. Now they lose their leader and kind of the spirit of their team with Cole Garrett out. So they better be careful today, Missouri against Ole Miss.
Tennessee is struggling, no question about that. But listen, they have beaten State 9 of 11 times. They've been upset in Knoxville.
Think they win it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Outright
Orange pants.
Nah.
How about South Carolina and Georgia? This game could get interesting if South Carolina can continue to create some turnovers. They've been able to create double-digit turnovers in 3 of the last 4 games. So if they can force Jake Fromm and them into some turnovers, this game could get interesting. But I like Georgia in the close one against South Carolina.
I think Ole Miss wins today. I think.
Really?
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
see.
with you.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think you're really with me.
I'd love an outright win there.
All right, let's check in with Chef Josh Jones and owner Mike Anderson from Mike Anderson Seafood, the Home Depot Game Day tailgate, cooking up. Hey, that's a gator they're cooking. That's a gator he's cooking up right there, huh? Moistures, a few other things too as well. You take a look at our Pizza Hut fan cam lying over the top of the quad here at LSU. A beautiful spot on campus as we join Maria Taylor.
Yeah, Reese, and I've got the Pizza Hut home team fan here. Everyone in Baton Rouge loves Matt Flynn, a national championship winning quarterback here. Matt, help us to understand, as a former player, who is the most hated rival for LSU players?
I think it's pretty easily summed up. I met a wonderful lady walking in. She gave me this, and it sums it up pretty good.
So you'll be wearing that tonight?
Look at that. That's right. That's right. I'll be wearing this. I'll be wearing this tonight. As a former player, I know the fan base. There's a lot of different rivalries at LSU they want to have, but as a former player, nothing gets our blood boiling more than the Florida Gators. I'm telling you.
And probably nothing makes you happier than beating them in 2007. That was the Mad Hatter game. What's your favorite memory from that matchup?
That was one of the most insane environments I've ever been a part of. One of the loudest environments. We convert 5 fourth downs in that game. And it was it was the year Tebow won the Heisman, and they were just coming off a national championship, and we were #1 going into that game, and everything that led up to that. That was just a complete team win, and the craziest atmosphere I've ever been a part of, and I expect that it's going to rival that tonight.
All right, I expect it will too. If the Tigers have anything to say about it in Death Valley, Reese.
Hey, Maria, great job vetting that T-shirt before it got on the air, too. South Carolina and Georgia on the 90th anniversary, by the way, of the Hedges. Jake Fromm, if he drops a little something on his pants, might be the only time he gets dirty today. He's barely been touched this year. An hour and 26 minutes from kickoff. That game follows College Game Day. You'll see the Dogs. Now, some of the people saying Jake Fromm, first-round draft pick, has been really, really impressive. Yeah. Still to come on College Game Day, Red River rivalry in the Cotton Bowl will take you live down to the field as the Horns and Sooners get closer and closer to kickoff. And also ahead on College Game Day, there was a Penn State player unfairly singled out this week. Teammates and coach rallied behind him.
I got some good friends that live down the street. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't. Oh no.
I'm being told that Marty's was.
All right, we got Michigan State and Wisconsin, Camp Randall Stadium. Remember, they've got a little history, these two. Think back to this game, 2011. Wisconsin ranked 6th, Michigan State 16th. Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. Under 2 to go. On Wisconsin, down by 7. There's Russell to Monte Ball. Tied it at 31. And here's Michigan State. Cousins to Keith Nickel, the former quarterback, playing receiver.
We're going to have to go to review here.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, we
called this game.
Yeah.
This is one of those you're sitting there. Does it count? Does it not? Does it count?
It was crazy that they overturned it because it was super close.
Yeah,
it was.
It counted, and revenge came for Wisconsin, the Big Ten championship game, winning it that year. Wisconsin's perfect right now. Michigan State's been kind of up and down, upset today in Camp Randall?
I think so. I tell you what, I know, and Kirk, you called the game, but I liked what I saw from Lewerke, and I like what I've seen from him this season. You look at his numbers last week, and it wasn't pretty at all, but he's making some tough throws. First of all, it's hard to throw off your back when you're playing against Ohio State and all that pressure, but I feel like that offense is coming along. And here's the thing. I don't know about Wisconsin's offense yet, and I know what the running back is. I know Taylor's a freak show.
That is their offense.
Correct. I think Michigan State can make a few more plays through the air, and because of that, I think Michigan State pulls the upset.
Well, with Jack Cohn at quarterback, he's got receivers. They're just being very careful with him, completing 74% of his passes. I'm with you. This is a low-scoring game. Michigan State rarely shows up after a loss and doesn't play well.
Right.
So I just don't know if they have the offense of balance. They're very predictable. Yeah. And on the road against that defense, I think Wisconsin will win. I think it's going to be very close.
Wisconsin will win this game. Michigan State's defense will play well. They're really angry about what happened last week against Ohio State. Going to that game, they were number 4 in the nation against the rush. Ohio State's running attack put over 300 yards on the ground against Sparty, so now they're kind of angry about that. This is a redemption opportunity for them going against Jonathan Taylor. But Brian Lewerke, he missed some easy throws in that game, too, a wide-open touchdown.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been consistent enough for me to pick them. So I think Wisconsin will win a hard-fought game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those close games.
Yeah.
You know, Bear, it's up at the top of your board here. What do you have?
Bears never lay in 10.
Yeah, no way.
No, sometimes I do, but sometimes I do, but not here. I'm with you guys in the thoughts of the game. Kirk, you hit on it. If you go back in the D'Antonio era, throw out that 2-6, the 3-9 season in 2016. The last 11 times Michigan State has lost by double digits. The following week, they've won 10, lost by a field goal. The other. Now, the opponents have always been great, but it's more to speaking to they don't play poorly 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put comparative scores and lay too much stock into that. Michigan State went to Evanston and absolutely crushed Northwestern. Northwestern went to Camp Randall, and that was a game. I worry about Cohen throwing the ball today, too. I don't think they're going to be able to run as much. I think Wisconsin will win, but it's close.
Michigan State, you want to throw on.
Right.
You don't want to just say, we'll show you.
Well, this
doesn't
might
play
be the
well.
game. You like the wideout Cephas, right?
Yeah, I do.
This may be a breakout game for
You
Cephas.
know, the last two games, too, Wisconsin's starting group of wide receivers, they've got 13 catches for over 100 yards.
Need to stretch the field.
Got to get them
take
involved
some shots.
a little bit, too.
Yeah.
All right, a game that's going to be in prime time on ABC tonight, Kinnick Stadium, Iowa taking on Penn State. You look at these two teams right here. Iowa's coming off a disappointing performance against Michigan last week. The offense was absolutely atrocious. Michigan's defense was really good. They're going to wear the gold uniforms, going to get out and try to create a hostile environment. And there's the pink locker room trying to take Penn State out of its edge. It's a calming, soothing.
It's a Hayden Fry thing.
Here is a Goodyear blimp-worthy moment. Remember 2017, waning seconds, Trace McSorley.
First, going to show the hurdle. Hey! Oh, he had a nice
How about on the way down, though? The guy hit him. He still stayed
here.
on his feet. Yeah.
Last play of the game.
Threaded the needle.
Juwan Johnson, who's since transferred to Oregon and Penn State, 21-19. Now, I want you to look at the uniforms that Iowa's going to be wearing tonight. That looks pretty normal so far.
Good.
And now when you zoom out.
Is that Missouri?
That's
looks like Missouri.
That's Missouri, yes,
Look,
doesn't it? Or
man.
no? You like that?
Yeah, it looks like Missouri.
Yeah.
You know, I think the old Hawkeyes better hope their players are a little bigger and a little more filled out that mannequin. If they got 59 looking that skinny, it is going to be a long night, man.
That's a kicker out here for the that was not good.
That's game of 7:30 Eastern time tonight on ABC. What do you think about this game right now? Iowa got a chance to knock off Penn State?
Well, it's been talked about so much. Iowa's tough at home at night, and they almost beat Penn State, and they knocked off Ohio State. Almost so obvious. Be careful. This is a Penn State team that is playing great defense, and they're doing it at every single level. First, they're doing a good job of stopping the run. Defensive line is getting penetration, but to me, it's been more about the linebacker play. They're leveraging the football, always so sound, in the gaps, communicating, experience. There's just nowhere to go between the tackles. So that'll be tough for Iowa, a team that does want to run the ball.
Oh,
and then you have
freak show.
You have
Gross Matos. I got you.
Yeah, that guy.
I butchered that name a lot, so I got you.
Yeah.
Real quick, negative plays tonight. You get Iowa behind the sticks like Michigan did, it's a problem because whether it's Gross Matos on one side, Shaka Tony on the other, you see the first step quickness, that get off, has the hands, athletic ability to get the bend around the corner. Both these guys almost get home. He had 3 sacks last week. So if they get Iowa and Nate Stanley in the obvious passing situations, even though they're on the road, Des, I think Penn State takes care of business, gets ready for next week, whiteout with Michigan.
This is going to be a tough game for Penn State. Don't forget, the last time they played a team with the pulse, it was Pitt. And Pitt came in, they roughed them up, and Penn State only scored 17 points. The defense is outstanding. I want to see how their offense responds because you know Iowa's going to come into this game thinking we have to make a statement. This is our opportunity. They're going to play tough against Penn State's offense. I like Penn State, but in a close one.
Yeah, and Iowa got embarrassed last week offensively. Yeah. They got it was ugly, and I think they're going to get a good talking to. What Iowa does best is run the football, play action. I just don't know if they can run the football. Those freaks that Kirk showed, those are as good as anybody in the business, not just in the Big Ten. Those are as good as anybody in the country. They create those number 1 in sacks per game, number 1 in tackles for loss per game. Iowa in passing situations, Did you see that last week?
It was ugly.
It wasn't good.
I'm not sure the stern talking to you're asking for is going to remedy that.
I don't think he can help it either. Not enough. Penn State, large.
Yeah. You know, Penn State had another story off the field that emerged this week, a most unfortunate one. Jonathan Sutherland, who is a captain for the Penn State team, got a letter from an alumnus of Penn State, a 1966 graduate. The letter headed at the top, you see, "We are Penn State." And here's the offensive part. He wrote and said, though the athletes of today superior to back in his day, he called his hair, well, awful, and then told him that he must have parents or girlfriends who tell him he's not attractive, and he missed the old days of the way players looked. And Penn State reacted by getting behind Jonathan Sutherland.
The football that I know and love brings people together and embraces differences. Black, white, brown, long hair, short hair, no hair. They're all in that locker room together. Ultimately, this is the definition and embodiment of what we are is all about. Jonathan Sutherland is one of the most respected players in our program. He's the ultimate example of what our program is all about.
Although those, remarks were negative, I think that as a team we realized, okay, we always got each other's backs. As you see, like those things on social media. And as far as Sutherland goes, he's really the gold standard of character in our locker room. He's my locker neighbor, and I'm proud to be next to him. He's an outstanding human being.
People want to always have an opinion about someone, but in the locker room, I think that we've all been pretty tight together. And if Jonathan's going through it emotionally, we'll carry him throughout the whole time and making sure he's okay. We're just going to come together even more and just be the brotherhood that we are.
Franklin's response was spot on, and Jonathan Sutherland's response epitomized grace and class. He quoted Colossians about forgiveness. Yeah. Now, this guy that wrote this letter has a reputation for writing letters to the editor, and here's where we usually tell him that he ought to hush, and he should.
Right.
But I suggest he needs to write 2 more letters. 2 more letters right now. Number 1 is he needs to write a public apology for embarrassing Penn State. True. He's the one that embarrassed Penn State, not their fan base, just this guy. And he needs to write another one to Jonathan Sutherland and tell him he was wrong and try to show the same kind of grace that Sutherland showed to him.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. When I first heard about the letter and read it, I was just disappointed and disgusted that now we live in an area where the climate is so toxic that he would write such a racist and bigoted letter. And I call it racist because Trace McSorley had tattoos, and Trace McSorley never got a letter like that. And attach his name to it so comfortably with no worry, no concern about the consequences or repercussions. That's really disturbing to me. So I agree with you. He needs to write 2 more letters.
Yeah, he needs to make this right. But the Penn State, I'll tell you what, this was not the fan base. This was a fan. The fan base got behind him, and as well, rightfully so.
You guys said it all. To me, the reaction from James Franklin was perfection. I think it may have a way of galvanizing this team. Listening to those players talk, I think this is going to be an opportunity for them to really come together because we've all been in locker rooms. That's the great thing about locker rooms. James Franklin just said that. The only colors are blue and white for Penn State for those players. So to me, this will bring this team together and I think make them a tighter bond within that locker room.
Yeah, we'll be able to see that Penn State taking on Iowa tonight on ABC. And certainly, I don't think there's any doubt that all right-thinking people stand with James Franklin and what those Penn State players said in reaction to Saturday Night Football. Coming up, you can see it streaming live on the ESPN app as well. Want to know what the best sound in football is? LSU gives it to you right before they take the field.
Best sound in football! LSU Tigers go to war! 1, 2, 3!
Hey! Look at Coach Elwood to the selfie tape. David, he's having a stick better than you. David, look at him with the selfie stick.
Man of many talents.
And Oz Ryan's going to join us on the set. It's all coming up. College Game Day from Baton Rouge.
That's beautiful. Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Share a Coke this football season with your friends, family, and fans.
We've had some people get busy on the signs. That's, okay, you lose, Dad. There you go. You're on TV now. Get a little bit of money. That's not fair. Wikipedia for that. Well, I like it when they do the football ones.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that one makes me uncomfortable. I understand. Well, I don't know what the problem with that is. Now that one they like. There we go. That's fine. Make some gators. I like that one. That version of Mike getting it to go. Joe Burrow. That might be Joe Burrow's favorite sign.
No doubt about that.
Big SpongeBob fan. Patrick. Sean Payton asking, well, you know what? LSU took a guy from the Saints and helped him out with Joe Brady.
That's right.
Wow. That was tough. Ouch.
They don't like each other, do they?
No, they just plain don't like each other.
Yeah.
Very not confident about the coin toss. Otherwise, they feel good. Man, oh man.
Looking good.
Coach O's been in the gym.
He sure has.
Changed that diet. You know what? That's probably an accurate sign. That hurt.
Wow.
A little too far now.
That is dedication.
Too dedicated.
That makes me hurt just thinking about it. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, recognizing those who strive to rise above the rest. Goodyear, more driven. They will be driven in that stadium tonight.
Yea, though they walk through the valley of the shadow of death, they will fear no evil. In this valley, maybe they should.
LSU Tigers going to war. 1, 2, 3. Hey!
Yeah! Let's go!
Fear the feeling. That's what the valley is. Electric, euphoric, ecstatic. It's a stadium and it's a state. An arena and a rave. What goes bump in the night? Down here, it's usually the other team.
Let them know they never want to come back to this valley.
The book of Genesis said, let there be light. But in the valley, they worship at dark.
Man, there's Mystique on Saturday night. If you haven't been here, no words could do it justice. And if you have, well, words just can't simply explain it. 8 o'clock Eastern time, Florida and LSU. Fowler and Herbie on the call. They'll have Tom and Maria on the sideline at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And the man who will be leading the charge for LSU is Ed Ogeron, who joins us here out here in the quad. Coach, good to have you with us.
Great to be here. What a great day for the LSU family.
How about this? They're fired up.
Go Tigers.
Hey, the Tigers go. You know, one of the things that your coordinators talk about is that you take very detailed notes and give them to them. What's the best note you've given them about this game tonight?
Take care of the football. Win the line of scrimmage.
That's it?
That's it.
Very simple football, huh?
That's right.
Hey, Coach, speaking about your offense, what has been the hardest part for you in making such major changes?
Yes, getting the right coaches. Getting the right coaches to get the quarterback. I think that Joe Burrow is probably one of the top recruits in LSU history. He's changed the offense. We finally got the quarterback that we need. We had the receivers. We've done a great job of recruiting skilled guys. But the hiring of Joe Brady and the implementation of the spread offense with Steve Ensminger. Steve Ensminger has been phenomenal in this whole process. He's like the general. They've changed what people think of LSU's offense.
Coach, at what point did you notice that your offense was going to be different, but in a good way?
You know, our last scrimmage before our spring game, we had an 80% completion ratio against a very good defense, against some very good defensive backs.
Right.
And I knew that we would have a very good offense.
Coach, I wanted to ask you the reasoning behind it, because even before you, this school has been known for I formation, run the ball, 2 receivers out, play action pass. And you kind of looked in the mirror and said, we have to change.
Yeah.
What made you be willing to make that change?
Well, we had to score more points to win the championship. And that's it. I want to bring a championship to Louisiana, and I knew we had to score more points. We had the athletes. We needed to put them in space, give them the ball, let them make plays, and we're doing it.
Absolutely.
You know what? I know that you're big into the analytics and the metrics. You do everything to help the players, but there's also, this is an emotional game.
Yeah.
You do a great job delivering pregame speeches. I want you to listen to this, what your players have to say about that.
Fiery. fiery. You want to go out there and fight with that guy. Anybody that says differently, there's something wrong with them.
Everything is just so energetic, so demanding.
Heartbeat go, baby! Get that heartbeat going, let's go!
I love before we go out, he have everybody do one chin strap buckle, and then he go 1, 2, 3, and then everybody just click at one time, and it just make your heart drop, and it just make you just ready to go.
Best time in football! LSU Tigers go to war! 1, 2, 3! Yeah!
He gives himself a little uppercut in the jaw. Gets everybody pumped up.
I be thinking he'll knock his teeth out one day, but he said his chant, he letting us know he ready and we ready. No, he physically can't be out there, but he gonna give us his all.
Teeth in good shape still. I'm glad to see that. Where did you get that idea? With everybody clicking the chin strap.
Over the course of time, we have I've been with several great coaches at Miami, at USC. We learned something from a lot of assistants. I just took everything from every program that we won championships and put it in our program.
Coach, you've been around a lot of different programs, a lot of elite programs. What makes the potential and just the feel and the vibe different here in Baton Rouge? You know what I mean?
The great state of Louisiana and Tiger Stadium. We have some of the best talent in the world right here in Louisiana. LSU can attract the top prospects on a national brand. We can bring the best coaches in here. Why not win it all at LSU? This is the best place in the world to play football, to watch football, and I love the state of Louisiana.
Coach, a lot of talk about the offense, but the last time we seen you guys in the big matchup was against Texas. Offense was explosive, but the defense kind of porous, gave up a lot of points, a lot of yards. What should we expect from the Tigers defense tonight against the Gators?
Better tackling. We worked hard on tackling at open date, and you can see it in our last game. We had 18 missed tackles for a minus 148 yards, which is not very good. We have diminished that to minus 2 missed tackles the last game. We have to play physical up front. We have Rashard Lawrence coming back. We have Glenn Logan coming back. We have Killabon Chesson coming back. We have Mike Divinity coming back. We are strongest we ever been. We're ready to go.
I think they're healthy. They'll be healthy. Can you get these guys ready? You got a message for them?
Yes, sir.
You got a message for them?
Go Tigers! Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot for being
Appreciate
with
you,
us.
man. Thank you, guys.
Coach O, one
Thank you.
team,
Thank you,
one
my brother.
heartbeat.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, Joe Burrow will be banging his head against the wall for that game tonight. He'll be ready to go, too. And also in the SEC, in Kyle Field, #1 Alabama comes in. This is the last stand for the Aggies if they want to be anything more than spoilers. Now, you know the statistics. Nick Saban, 17-0 against former assistants. Average margin of victory, about 4 touchdowns. The Aggies are 1-9 in their last 10 against top 5 teams. 2-9 in their last 11 against Kyle Field against top 10 teams. And when ranked, Texas A&M hasn't beaten a top 5 team at home since 1998. That's all historical problem. The current problem, Tua, Judy, Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. But Jimbo has a plan. A detailed, multifaceted, notebook-filling plan.
You got to find ways to affect a quarterback. You have to run. You can't just be in the same thing all the time. You got to challenge and mix it up, and hopefully do. And maybe you can bat some balls, get some balls, or get great coverage, and turn guys loose and get some hits on the quarterback. Because I don't care who you are, when you get hit, you get affected. I mean, in everything you do. So, but he's as good as there is in college football, and an outstanding player. You got to create big plays. You got to score points because they're going to get points. Their numbers of plays aren't up. Their big plays are up. And you're going to have to do that on defense. We've got to keep big plays down and do a good job defensively of not giving up plays and getting off the field and getting third down stops. You can't have negative plays, penalties, turnovers, those kind of things. And you got to find a way to create big plays. But if you can eliminate negative plays and self-inflicted wounds on offense, it gives you a much better chance to move the football. And I don't care how talented you are. Those #1 teams are #1 for one reason. They play very well. That's what we have to do. Go play well.
Well, there you have it.
That's it.
You got the secret sauce right there. You see the worst home winning percentages of ranked team against top 10. I detailed some of A&M's struggles right there with Tennessee and Virginia Tech since 2000. So I mentioned this is the last stand game for A&M. They haven't played to what we thought their capabilities might be. What do you expect today?
Well, I think first we're here celebrating, talking a lot about Joe Burrow. Joe Brady that's come over from the Saints, running more of an NFL-style offense now here in Baton Rouge. We haven't really talked a whole lot about what Tua has done with Sark, who came back to college, spent some time in the NFL. He's brought an NFL system into Tuscaloosa. over the entire country, the two quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Tua, are the two that are able to process and understand and put their offense in a position with all these receivers and ability to distribute the football. So A&M will come out, play inspired early, but over the course of 60 minutes, Alabama pulls away, wins big.
Alabama has the best quarterback in the country in Tua. No question about it. He throws the ball and had more touchdown passes than anybody. I don't care what you say.
Still mixing jumble on.
Three receivers, the best in the country.
Right.
They've caught 98 passes for 18 touchdowns. Now listen to this.
Okay.
Can you believe I'm talking about a Nick Saban coach Alabama team and not Oklahoma? Nick Saban team.
No, right. Exactly. I tell you what, when you have a quarterback that's red hot with three of the best receivers in the country, you have to use your weapons. I'm looking at Alabama like I want them to have more balance because they do have really good running backs and they average over 5 yards every time they touch the ball. But because Tua is red hot, leads the FBS in touchdown passes with 23, they're going to have to use what's hot, and that's the hot hand right now. They will beat A&M. It'll be a tough game earlier, but they'll pull away late.
It's amazing. He's not throwing the ball downfield. I mean, everything is quick.
Yeah, those guys just take the ball to distance.
Yeah. They lead the nation in yards after the catch.
Because the ball's right here.
Yeah,
The ball's right there.
Nearly 10. A&M is a little bit of a middle of the pack in the SEC in limiting yards after the catch. They'll have to tackle well against Alabama. That game this afternoon at 3:30 Eastern Time. This week's Home Depot Pro Customer of the Week is Dulcie Togstad from SBP. Her game day traditions built here in Baton Rouge.
Gator.
And Goodman is going to be our celebrity guest picker. He might have a bit of a taste for Gator as it comes. You know, LSU and Florida, we've determined that they don't really care for each other. Same as Oklahoma and Texas.
One tunnel. One tunnel now.
One tunnel.
One tunnel.
Here we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Somebody said something about somebody's mama. And here they go.
The Hook'em Horns down.
Did you see it?
I know. They did that. That'll do it.
Here we go. USC and Notre Dame. That old rivalry renewed in South Bend today. Could there be an upset alert for the Irish? And Jalen Hurts, I'm sure Jalen Hurts is playing peacemaker, by the way, in that little skirmish in the Cotton Bowl.
You know, there's a lot of emotion that comes with this game. I've never played in it. It's just another ball game for us. So you got to leave the emotions to the side and keep the main thing the main thing.
College game day in the home. There's a mystique about this place. It's compelling. You want to experience it. You want to get as many different angles as you can on it. I like the flavor cam up the right. A little gator being cooked up. Just in case you were wondering who that gator was for, they put the hat on him just to make sure.
Oh, yeah. There's some more.
Tremendous look here. Great morning here. The Pizza Hut fan cam here at the quad of LSU. It is homecoming weekend on the Bayou and celebrating by this big SEC showdown. And here they come, the Golden Band from Tigerland. They are marching to the beat of their own drummer, just like we do on College Game Day.
The sun will soon find its home in the western sky, and it will be Saturday night in Death Valley.
Go Gators, go Gators.
It's like he's stirring with us.
Whoever stumbles in to somehow win that division has to show up in Charlotte and play Clemson.
Their defense is finally going to be tested. Texas is going to come after them. You know that with Sam Ehlinger.
The world's on Texas today.
Really?
He warned.
How would you describe your offense right now, Joe?
Explosive.
I've never seen a quarterback go from last year, people didn't even talk about Joe Burrow, to this year. This kid's going to be a first-round draft choice.
Been a tremendous morning, getting closer and closer to kickoff Oklahoma and Texas, and perhaps not since Barry Switzer wore that Beat Texas cap on the sideline, has a message from a Sooner so incited the Big Orange and given them a red rear end as when Jalen Hurts said, "I'll be fine. I've been in big games before. I played in the Iron Bowl." Well, B.J. Foster said that Hurts had better slide or it won't go well for him. Well, I know that Jalen Hurts might not know a lot about this rivalry yet, but apparently Foster doesn't know about Jalen Hurts because he won't slide. As Wright Thompson tells us, he never looks for the easy path.
Jalen Hurts has been that go-to offseason story. Who and where would he end up?
Alabama's Jalen Hurts will become a graduate transfer quarterback at, wait for it, the University of Oklahoma.
Jalen Hurts doesn't say a whole lot, but he tells us plenty when he's on our TV screen. He seems quiet, but he plays loud.
He runs straight ahead, makes a move, gets a first down and a touchdown.
He seems cool and collected, but there's 2 years of highs and lows working away just beneath the surface. Maybe that's why he doesn't engage much in the hype machine. He's seen enough to know it's all a fragile mirage. He held the most prestigious job in college sports, starting quarterback at the University of Alabama, and then he lost it. At the same time, he lost the path that had been laid out since his days as a prep star on the petrochemical outskirts of Houston. Instead of melting down, he studied and worked and waited, using the quarterback room to get a stress-free master's degree in football, and then came off the bench in the SEC title game to show what he'd learned about the game and himself.
I'm so proud of this guy for what he's done this year.
Is Jalen Hurts going to be great in that situation? Mike? Or is Oklahoma going to go 8-4 and want to fire Lincoln Riley?
He's an unquestioned leader.
Now he's at Oklahoma and is reclaiming all that was briefly lost. So don't let the placid exterior fool you. Watch your television closely. There's a ferocity on display, a determination, a rage even, that says he has gained something new, in addition to all that he's regained. When he appears on our screens, he's revealing his truest self, the one who takes the field, the one who gets knocked down and who has picked himself back up, wiser and stronger, without much to say, but with lots to do.
It's a pleasure to be able to speak to you guys as an Oklahoma Sooner.
It'll continue today against Texas. Jalen's numbers compare very favorably to the last two Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks at Oklahoma. Now, Texas has been vulnerable to big pass plays this year, second worst in the Big 12, bottom 20 in the country. Can Hurts take advantage of the Texas defense?
Snap to Jalen Hurts, flings it across the middle. CD caught it, midfield, breaks away. They're not going to get him. 10-5, Painter.
We're always on the attack. We don't want people ever to be able to pigeonhole us.
We got great receivers, great offensive linemen, great running backs. New, young, or old, everybody's held to the same standard of play.
You really just never know what exactly to expect, especially with that quarterback. That factor makes it that much harder.
He's not dumb, so he's going to have to slide. Right? It's not going to be good for them.
Stop the run, because that's what people overlook. They make the game one-dimensional.
Any offense, once you get those guys under pressure, they start to rattle.
It doesn't get any better than the Red River rivalry. It's one of the best rivalries in all of college football.
It's just another ball game for us. So you got to leave the emotions to the side and keep the main thing.
Texas can try as hard as they can to try to get a reaction from Hurts. Not happening. He's been in this stadium. He understands it. He's got this high-powered offense averaging about 10 yards a play.
Well, he came in as a freshman. It's just the way he's wired. His composure is always, I think a lot of us, when we watched him, we were just like, boy, he doesn't show emotion. He's flatliner. It's just how he plays the game. That will not change today. The moment won't be too big. In fact, I expect him to play well. But it doesn't really start with him. To me, when you watch Lincoln Riley over these last 2 or 3 years when the quarterback's getting a lot of the attention, what really stands out, how they can run the football. Trey Sermon, now they use a committee, but Sermon will be the guy to watch. You put two safeties back because you're worried about Hurts in that passing game, you're going to get a dose of this. They average 288 on the ground. Hurts 100 of those yards. So now you're thinking, okay, we got to worry about, let's try to disguise, we'll bring a safety down later. He's able to read that, feel it. Now he's got space to work with. For a guy like CeeDee Lamb and the accuracy of the way Jalen Hurts is throwing the football, that's when he's able to make things happen. And CeeDee Lamb, who's from Texas, will be all worked up today to go up against the Horns. They better slow down number 2 if they have any chance at all winning this game. And then this is the thing that we saw last year with Kyler Murray. He does it differently. Even if you spy him, you still have to account for his speed, because a linebacker here tries to spy him. He gets around him with that speed, and now he's in the open field like a running back. He's not going down. He's not sliding. He's not going out of bounds. So this will be a handful for Texas to slow down this offense. The good news is they're healthy, or healthier in the back end, which I think could help them out today. But
Coach Zero Sugar counting us down to kickoff in that game.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to watching these young men play, especially the ones from Texas. It's going to be an emotional game, especially right out the gate. But when things calm down, I want to see if Texas' defense, which people have just been beaten down to the dirt because where they're ranked statistically, I want to see if this defense rises to the occasion and gives some resistance to the Sooners offense that they haven't seen so far this season. I expect them to come out and play hard right at the onset, David.
How about some of these defensive guys, too? I want to see the defense for Oklahoma. I mean, just as much as I know we made a staff change and things look a little bit better, now you're going to see it against a really good offense. A really good offense. Good quarterback. And weapons on the outside, and the nation's leading wide receiver with Devin Duvernay. How do you say his name again?
Duvernay. Yeah,
Duvernay.
right.
Okay, here we go. Name check with Reese Davis. This guy's been awesome, man. I tell you what, he switches from outside wide receiver and moves into the slot and really understands how to work with Sam Ellinger. Watch the little hand signal right here. Just the relationship with him, knowing, hey, look, this is a big play. This is 4th down, season possibly, or game probably on the line. Great job. I just needed to give you one hand signal, sees the hot read, comes inside right now. Sam Ellinger puts on the money, and this is where he's nasty after the catch. 10-200 in high school, was a state champion, and you can see the speed, and you've seen the power in spurts too, but also the relationship of seeing zone coverage. And remember, Ellinger's been growing throughout his career and getting better. Duvernay in the slot. Look, he sees it, understands exactly what he's seeing with zone coverage. Don't sit down and wait for the ball to come to you, Des. Go get the football, catch it, and then make plays. And then the route running ability versus man coverage. Just watch the inside move real quick. Just turn the shoulders enough to move that defensive guy out of the way and make huge holes in the secondary and huge space to make big plays down the field. So Ellinger has found his go-to guy for sure. I don't know what he's doing, what kind of warm-up that is right there, but he's definitely
it's a dynamic warm-up.
Definitely found his go-to guy.
No, that seriously is what it's called. You know, get dynamic warm-up, get him going.
Huh? He has played 3 games against OU, grew up his whole life wanting to play for the Texas Longhorns. 2 of the 3 he played really well. He's 1-2 his record against him. He lost beat him in regular season, lost in Big 12 championship, lost the previous year, but has played well. It's gonna be hard. Great tape there showing Duvernay. It's gonna be very hard for OU's defense to slow these guys down.
High stakes game there. Oklahoma unbeaten last 3 times that they've come in against Texas with an undefeated record. They left with the L, and Ellinger and the Longhorns do it again. Touchdown Jesus overlooking another great rivalry game. Notre Dame Stadium tonight. It'll be 7:30 Eastern time tonight. Notre Dame only lost to Georgia taking on USC. The Irish quarterback Ian Book with Ed Ashoff.
Ian, I know it's a little early, but this team feels a little bit like a couple of years ago coming off that Georgia loss, having some resolve. What sort of resolve have you seen from this team?
We go down to Georgia and, we have a bad taste in our mouth, but this team does a great job of just focusing, week by week, and we say that we want to go, 1-0 at the end of every week. So this team's done a great job of putting that behind us, and, we know what we're capable of doing.
You've got a rival coming in USC. They're coming off their best pass defense performance against Washington. What do you have to do against this USC secondary?
I just got to distribute the ball to all of our playmakers. We have some really talented guys on the perimeter and in the backfield, and it's on me to get the ball to them. And I trust the coaches that they put us in a great situation to do that, and we're ready to go do it.
And one thing that's certainly going to help you getting Jafar back, what does that do for your offense?
He's a great leader. He just brings a spark to our offense, and he's got a different type of speed to him, and it's great to have him back. He works really hard, and we're all just excited for him to be back.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ed, Ian, thank you very much. Look at Notre Dame when favored by a touchdown or more against an unranked USC team. And you see how the results have gone. You see the games in red were being played at Notre Dame. Now, last year, SC tried to spoil things for Notre Dame, lost by a touchdown, but their wide receivers had a big game, and those guys are back.
I tell you what, guys, it's really interesting how we talk about these programs that got 3 legitimate wideouts. We talk about the group here at LSU, and then the group down in Tuscaloosa. And then, hey, USC, they have 3 bona fide superstars at the wideout position. Keaton Slovis is coming back. He's out of concussion protocol. He has to make sure you get the ball into the receiver's hands quick because they're going to come after this young man. Don't forget, he's a young quarterback, not a lot of playing experience. I expect Notre Dame's defense to dial up some blitzes, get the ball out of his hands. But if he has some time, they got some guys on the perimeter that can take advantage of Notre Dame's secondary.
I think that's the big thing is the defensive ends from Notre Dame are for real.
No doubt.
Okwara on one side, Kareem on the other, offensive tackles from USC on the road. If they can't run the ball, and Slovis is back there in obvious passing situations, that would not be a good recipe for them this evening. So I think Notre Dame at home, I think this team's better than the nation's maybe recognizing. I think they win handily.
What defensive ends am I going to get? Am I going to get the ones versus Virginia when they absolutely wrecked the game plan, or the ones with Georgia where there wasn't getting much pressure at all? That to me is because I don't think Notre Dame's good enough in the back end to sit there and lock up wide receivers, and especially this trio of wide receivers. So can the pass rush work with the secondary? If not, they're going to give up a lot of big plays, and they're going to have to score points, and they can. Ian Book can. Absolutely can.
It's really important game, too, for Clay Helton, too. The perception the first half of the season schedule has been tough. So which way does it wind up, Bear? Does Notre Dame get 3 in a row against SC?
I think they do win the game, but I'm going to take SC plus the points here. Kirk hit on Notre Dame's defensive line. Dalen Hayes is out there. More importantly, Sean Crawford out in the secondary. How are they going to contain all that SC those wide receivers? That game in Washington a couple of weeks ago, SC turned the ball over 3 times, a big red zone pick, really changed the complexion of that game. Outside of that, the SC defense played really well in Seattle. The one long run by Ahmed was it. Is Jafar Armstrong's return going to be the one thing to really boost the Irish offense and get them over the top? I think Notre Dame will win, but I think it's close.
Close game. Okay.
I tend to agree with him. By the way, Bear, last Notre Dame coach to have a 3-game winning streak against the Trojans.
Bob Davie.
Coach Bob Davie.
By the way, no flinch at all. He knew Bob Davie.
That's right. 1999 to 2001. Glad Bob's feeling better, by the way, too. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar counting us down to kickoff just over a half hour away from the start of your college football Saturday. And we've got one in the Big Ten on ABC, Michigan and Illinois. Harbaugh says the offense is close to clicking.
Really?
That's what he says.
Close to firing all cylinders.
That's what he said.
We just don't know if it's a 1-cylinder or 2-cylinder.
Anytime that offense is on the road, it's, you just want to see them.
It was at home last week against Iowa.
I know.
It didn't really get out of the garage.
So you got those gloves
Iowa's got a good defense.
Iowa's good
Shea, they were good on D.
You got to get Shea going, though. I think Shea has to play better. That's where it starts. There's no
offensive line is where it starts for me.
And Zach Charbonnet got to hit the right holes, and they need some help on offense as well. They've tried to find some help to take some of the burden off of him. And there is Brandon Peters, a graduate transfer. He said he was a game-time decision. Now they're saying will not play today. That's the Illinois starting quarterback who previously was at Michigan, started 4 games for Michigan in his career. They won't get a chance to go against his old team. Counting down to kickoff in Philadelphia on ESPN2. How about those lids that Memphis is wearing, trying to stay unbeaten against Temple? Brady White, another underrated, undersold star.
Pulling out all the stops to go on the road to get ready for Temple tough. Always a tough team to get ready for. Very, very physical. Trying to get the ball in space with this system that they run and try to let their athletes make plays.
I like Temple's coach too, Rod Carey. He's going to have those guys ready for this matchup. You have a ranked team coming to your backyard. This is going to be a very physical contest.
You saw Gainwell too, who's really played well.
First straight 100-yard game.
He's been terrific. They've had some injuries in the backfield, and he's stepped up. And Sean Bradley will have a lot to say about that. Coke Zero Sugar counting us down to kick off Between the Hedges. By the way, 90 years ago today, Sanford Stadium opened, and Georgia beat Yale. 15-0.
Of course they did.
Oh,
no
boy.
surprise there.
Hey, he gave this young man gave him a spark.
He did. He really did.
He showed him
Especially early.
Showed him a little double move early. Got a big touchdown. They need to take advantage of some of those playmakers they got on the outside. Tennessee's offense got to get going.
Yeah, they're wearing those orange pants. I think it was like 2007 championship game orange with no stripes.
Looking like
whoa. And Mike Anderson, our Game Day tailgate
you got a little
chef.
gator there.
This is Gator right here.
Thanks, you
Let's
guys.
have a little bit of that Gator right here.
You can't tell by the head up there. Look,
Lemon pie.
You got the head right here.
We have a fork.
We have
Oh, this is nice.
Have a bite of the head.
Thank you very much.
Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pollock, your favorite. Your favorite.
That's a Gator.
Gator.
AT&T Best Performer giving us a look at Jake Fromm. You'll be able to see him right after College Game Day. Georgia taking on South Carolina. And boy, Fromm has been sensational. And so too have the people protecting him. Fromm has only been sacked one time, despite the fact that he has dropped back 114 times. Georgia, they give him the freedom and the power to make sure everything's right on their offensive front. They change plays. He's only been sacked one time. He gets them in the exact right protection. Allison Williams with Kirby Smart.
Coach Smart, your team has the 5th best rush defense in the country. The only team to not allow a rushing TD this year. But how tested do you think that defense has been?
I think we'll find out today. We got a big test today, and they do a great job with the run scheme. They got multiple backs, and they're very physical.
You're facing your longtime friend, your former teammate and Coach Muschamp. Now, you own a 3-0 record against him on the field, but what's this I hear about him owning you on the basketball court?
You'd have to ask him that, because he's the only one that claims that.
How much of what we see from Muschamp on the sidelines is what you saw being a teammate of his here at Georgia?
Oh, he's a fiery competitor. I mean, just like most competitors are. Coaches get in the profession because they got energy, enthusiasm, and he's the same way.
Coach Smart, thank you.
Thank you.
Coke Zero Sugar counting down to kickoff tonight. 27 minutes until DeAndre Swift takes aim at that South Carolina defense.
It's a balanced attack. Last year, really the last couple years since Jake Fromm has been there, he's been a beneficiary of having a team that can run the football, and I think that'll be a big thing today against South Carolina's defense, that offensive line, and being able to get that balance. And Tyler Clark on the other side, man, they just keep, I think, getting better, getting healthier, and having an edge to them on the defense that they've been playing this year in Athens.
You know, they have limited South Carolina no more than 54 yards rushing since Kirby Smart has been in Athens. Ryan Helinski, the freshman, will start at quarterback. The Georgia crowd going to raise 3 fingers in honor of his brother Tyler, who died of suicide, played at Washington State. A great gesture from the Georgia fans. And there is Brian Edwards, a target who will be one for Helinski today.
There was a time when this game went a long way in determining the SEC East, and now really just for one team, obviously Georgia.
And of course, Georgia anticipates that the showdown with Florida will ultimately decide the SEC East, but Florida has far more pressing matters coming up tonight in Death Valley when they take on LSU. The Gators coming off a victory against Auburn, and like a Gator after raw hamburger meat, that Florida defense stalked, harassed, sacked, and intercepted Bo Nix. But young Bo is no Joe. And Joe Burrow is no ordinary Joe. Joe Burrow is second in the country in completion percentage under duress. He's made big plays in the middle of the field all year, but the Gators are best in the SEC at shutting down the middle of the field. There are all kinds of numbers, but LC hit the biggest one. LSU scores nearly 55 points a game, and Florida has allowed 57 all season.
This is a proving ground, right? Are you on the way up, or are you just kind of sliding sideways?
They're explosive. They're the #1 offense in the country. They're lighting up the scoreboard.
Joe Burrow's playing with a lot of confidence this year.
As a quarterback, you have to be a little different.
I'd love to have a quarterback like that.
I'll go to war with Joe Burrow.
This is going to be a big one. LSU looks unstoppable.
I think when you get on the field, you have to flip a switch if you want to be one of the greats.
Us receivers ready to rock and roll. I mean, we ready to put up points. We ready to put up numbers on the board.
They're the best defense we'll play all year, I think.
You're going to get hit by 300-pounders that run 4.8 40 and they're coming after you.
We want to attack and be aggressive. Players around the country want to play in that style of defense.
So fast, so aggressive, great players.
I mean, that's the year we have our revenge. That's the year we go out there and dominate.
This Florida defense has been sensational. You heard Burrow sort of slipping in. This is the best defense we'll see all year.
Yeah.
Not up to this point.
No.
All year.
Yeah.
Got Auburn in a couple of weeks. Got Alabama. And look, Alabama's got no claim to that right now. Florida certainly does. What are you expecting tonight, LC?
Well, some of the radar notes that about LSU jumped out at me. First, they're 5-1 in their last 6 games against top 10 teams. And this is very important. Their place kicker, Cade Moore, York, is second in the ACC in scoring. Now, Kelly O, this is O's, his wife, gave me a sweater to wear.
Oh.
And I want to put it on.
You going to put that on?
It says Corso.
Go Tigers! Go Tigers!
Let's go Tigers. Before it was go Gators.
Yeah, it was.
No, go Tigers.
Now it's go Tigers.
They gave me a sweater. I got to say it. Okay. Go Tigers!
All right. There you go. They heard that time. Well, for me, watching this LSU offense, Reese and I had a chance to call the game when they were in Austin, and we went into the game expecting something, and then we watched it and the way it was able to unravel in front of us. And I think all of America said, this is a different LSU with Joe Burrow and with Joe Brady coming over from the Saints. And let's talk a little bit about this new aggressive mentality and what Florida's going to have to defend. First thing is they're going to spread you out with 5 receivers. Try to find the matchup. Try to create space for Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, who lead these wide receivers. So you got to be able to play in space. They're going to pick on your nickelback. They're going to pick on a linebacker. Then they're going to use condensed formations. When they do that, affects your communication. Here they lose a receiver. Texas loses a receiver, Chase, coming all the way across. You need time to be able to throw that. Will Burrow have that today? This is the thing that's so impressive this year with Joe Burrow. Working through his progressions. Works from the right, comes back to the left. He's about to go underneath. Senses that linebacker is going to take away that receiver, so ultimately he's able to find the tight end Moss for a first down. And this is where you knew this is a different LSU. They're up 6. 3rd and 17, 2:38 to go, on the road, run the ball, make Texas use their last timeout. Nope. They're going to get aggressive. Texas blitzes him, and look at the courage to step up into the pocket and make that throw right there to Justin Jefferson. Ended the football game, and it's a totally different attitude in how LSU wants to attack you. And we've been talking all show. Good against good. They've not seen a defense that can get after the quarterback with 4 the way Florida can do that. And to me, that's where something I think is going to have to give today. Yeah. Is LSU as good as we've been talking about, or is Florida's defense better?
I tell you what, when I watched the Gators defense last week against Auburn, there were about 3 things that stuck out to me. They were fast, but they were fast in making decisions. They were very sound, and they know exactly what's going on defensively, so they play with reckless abandon. Let me show you exactly what you're going to see when the Gators defense takes the field tonight. First of all, watch the right end. He's a buck, number 58, John Bernard. He understands he has a safety behind him that's going to be an alley player. So he doesn't even honor the fake or the orbit motion. He comes straight for the quarterback. That's what he's going to do tonight. These guys, they don't just react. They force the issue on an offense. He blows up the screenplay. Very fast and decisive. Number 88, Adam Schuler, the nose tackle. Now they're in a bare front, 5 defensive linemen. He blows the center up, pushes him in the backfield, but watch how sound they are in their gaps. That's another tackle for loss. Watch the corner at the bottom of the screen. Okay, this is a funky formation that Gus Malzahn's doing, but watch number 3, Marco Wilson. Once he identifies the play with reckless abandon, he comes straight away. He doesn't make the play, but he turns it back in to his defense where he has the help. These guys are smart, they're fast, they're athletic, but they're very decisive, and that's what gives their defense an edge.
Well, they're going to have Jabari Zuniga back, another pass rusher tonight. Yeah. And just to make it fair against Auburn, they played one play with only 10 players, and they intercepted the pass. They got to pick on it. So David Pollack, who wins the game tonight? Is it Florida or LSU?
Well, they played with 10 players the whole time?
No,
there's got to be one. Okay, they're going with 11. There's got to be a win. Listen, I thought Florida would lose last week and picked against them, but when I look at this matchup, it is good on goods, and Ded showed you great Florida defense. I just think it's better LSU offense. They run the RPO game. You can't be right. So Joe Burrow getting the ball out of his hand quickly. Joe Burrow, this crowd, listen to this crowd right now. It's going to be crazy tonight. Trask maybe makes a few mistakes. I think it's a pretty close game. It's good on good, but LSU's offense scores enough points. Florida can't keep pace. LSU wins the game.
It's good to see that the crowd here hasn't forgotten Jim McElwain either. Sideline over David's shoulder. Barry, you got a lean in this game?
A brutal spot for Florida today. It really is. Home upset last week. You got to go on the road now as a bigger underdog and try and pull off a win. I think Florida's defense is going to make it difficult on LSU tonight. I really do. But ultimately, I think LSU's offense makes plays. Second half, pull away. LSU wins. I don't know if I'm going to lay the 13.5, but LSU will win the game.
It's like a yo-yo. Back and eat.
I want to show you what's happening down in Dallas right now, too. Texas and Oklahoma. More fights.
Oh, yeah? Let's see.
Had another little skirmish, this time with everybody in pads. Both teams have been issued warnings now. So, my understanding, you get into it again, you're out.
Well, it's not just a rivalry game. Both these head coaches pride themselves on being more physical in this game.
True.
And they're trying to set the edge here early.
That's ugly. That's not good for college football.
I'm with you.
That's ugly.
Here's how the officials have handled it. Every player on both teams, warning, if you get an unsportsmanlike, you're gone.
I love it.
Every player on both teams.
By the way, tonight, look for more of the same. I'm telling you, when these teams take the field tonight here.
They're going to try to grill up a little Gator, and perhaps it'll be more of a figurative grilling for LSU tonight as we check in with Maria, who's with our celebrity guest picker.
Stay away from the stove, the crawfish etouffee, and everything you got going here.
It's spicy.
You might be the only actor that knows what it's like to play in Tiger Stadium because of Everybody's All-American.
Yeah.
What do you remember from the time you ran out there?
The first time we ran out onto the field, I got to midfield and I forgot to breathe.
Okay.
I had to remind myself to breathe.
Well, maybe the same thing will happen to Florida tonight. They won't be able to breathe
maybe the
because
same
of
thing.
that valley
They
race.
run out of breath.
Yeah, we'll see. Either way, he's got to breathe, make his way all the way up to the set, and feed everyone that's out here. You guys want to eat some gator?
We have vegan alligator.
John Goodman's headed to the set next on Game Day. Looks good.
College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And in part by Reese's. And AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Man, do we have to wait 8 hours? I know. Fired up. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Best part of every kickoff, the drive that comes next. Go further with Goodyear. It is more.
We don't need to show the standings, do we?
Oh, yeah, we do. We'll get there. Patience, my good man. Game day check down. You see a couple of guys coming back for the Trojans. Landon Dickerson's going to start at center for Alabama. And on the subject of the Superdog standings,
This is Reese's highlight of the week. Highlight of the week.
Whoa, man, I gotta get going.
Look at the coach, huh?
It's close.
I didn't know that.
Herbie doesn't think much of my life, does he? Highlight of the week.
Oh,
Sir,
man.
give me a super dog.
I tell you what, I'm gonna go with the Red River Shootout, Red River Rivalry, whatever they call it this year. Texas against Oklahoma. I think that Texas may be able to keep this game a little closer than the experts think. Who knows? If a couple of players get ejected for fighting, the Longhorns just might win.
I'm going to go Ole Miss in Missouri. Missouri loses Cole Garrett, their linebacker.
Yeah.
New quarterback running this new offensive attack for Rich Rod. Got a lot of speed. I don't know, man. Missouri better be careful. Ole Miss could win that one outright.
Arizona gets 5.5 against Washington. The home team has won 8 out of the last 9. Arizona is off to his best start in 5 years. 3 at home and 3-0 at home. Arizona outright win.
Ooh, late one in Tucson.
Yeah.
16 undefeated teams starting the weekend. By the end of the weekend, Memphis will not be one of them. Memphis going into Temple.
So arrogant with his picks now. Now that he's at the top of the standings, he's just declaring what will happen.
Yeah,
he's declaring. He's reading Sunday's paper.
4.5.
Jealousy is not coming on you.
Till we
That's not a good look.
I can't wait till we regroup in the second half.
Saturday selection is brought to you by Coors Light. Our celebrity guest picker is the great John Goodman, star of The Connors on ABC Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The Big Lebowski, Monsters Inc. Everybody's All-American. Playing LSU football player here.
Oh, look at Emmett.
Here's what Emmett got past Matthew McConaughey last week.
McConaughey down.
And John Goodman, and I detect that, like me, you're endowed with the gift of gab. So you're ready to make some picks here?
Yeah. That's how gabby I get.
Let's start with a game at the FCS level. Villanova's undefeated, taking on JMU. Who wins the game?
Two of the highest scoring offenses in CAA. I like JMU in the close one. It's going to be a shootout, though.
Yeah, I like JMU. I like the Dukes. I think they're going to wrap it up today.
Nice pick. Nice going. JMU is second in the FCS. They win. They get it.
I'm going with JMU because College Game Day, when we go to JMU, we have an awesome trip. And because of that, I'm going with JMU.
We also have really good trips to North Dakota State. They're undefeated, maybe on the radar at some point, taking on Northern Iowa.
I'm going to go North Dakota State big in this one. Can't go against the Bison.
Yeah, Northern Iowa's 0-2 on the road. They're going into the fearsome Fargo Dome.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think we got North Dakota State.
Nice pick. You know Corso, the Bison, lives there? Yeah, North Dakota State, named after my
you
bison.
got it.
I got a bison there.
A bison there. I'm going with North Dakota State as well. Players change, the coaches change. Same old North Dakota State. I like the Bison.
Hawaii and Boise State. Boise State also undefeated. Hawaii can score.
Yeah, Hawaii can score, and they will put up some points. But I like this freshman quarterback, Hank Bachmeyer's having a tremendous freshman campaign. I'm going with Boise State.
I think Hawaii's going to find a little disappointment on the blue turf, the natural blue turf.
Yeah.
And into Boise State.
Nice pick, John. That's great. Nice pick.
Thank you,
Boise, Coach. Big. Nice pick, John.
Thank you, Coach.
He's already caught on to it. Nice pick. Nice pick. Hawaii keeps this very close. Boise's not been dominant. They're undefeated, but not been dominant. Hawaii has a good football team. They can score points. I think Boise at home is the difference.
Yeah, Hawaii, when they throw interceptions, not good. When they don't, they could stay close. What about Memphis and Temple?
I tell you what, you almost convinced me that Temple's going to win. I want to go Memphis, but I'm one point behind you, so I got to go Tigers.
Root against me.
We got the number one team in the East, the number one team in the West. I say it's a touchdown, the Owls.
Oh,
outright.
Temple too.
Wow. Nice pick.
Thank you, Coach.
Nice pick, but not so fast, my friend. Memphis is 5-0, make it 6-0. Close.
Because Reese picked this as his super dog. This is big. Really big. Memphis, too much speed for that tough Temple team. Huge win.
You have never seen anybody root against anything the way he roots against me.
That's all I'm focused on.
Michigan State, Wisconsin.
I tell you what, Michigan State's defense is going to come out and they're going to play aggressive. They're going to be tough. But I just think Wisconsin late is going to pull away from Sparty. So I'm going with the Badgers.
Has Wisconsin been tested enough? That's what I asked myself when I woke up this morning.
Yep.
And I think they're going to roll.
Wisconsin, huh? Listen to this, John.
Yes, sir?
The only team in the nation that has not trailed in a game this year is Wisconsin. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no. All right, Wisconsin. I'll come.
You're going Wisconsin. I'm with you, Des. I think this one's a little tricky. Yeah. I think Michigan State's physicality keeps him in this football game. I just don't know if they have the balance offensively. So Wisconsin gets it done, wins this game, but it's going to be close.
Now, Bears taking the points on his board, too. The greatest unsanctioned trophy in the history of college football, $5 bits of broken chair for Nebraska and Minnesota.
Minnesota can throw the ball around the yard. They have some guys out wide going to play on Sundays. I like the Gophers in this game.
I have to apologize to my friend Adam Devine and Katie Wildhagen. I got to say Minnesota, the Gophers.
Not so fast.
Not so fast.
You were doing good. Not so fast.
Yes, sir.
Nebraska in an upset.
Wow.
Nebraska in an upset.
You know what? I'm with you.
Oh, really?
I'm with you. As long as it doesn't come down to a field goal, Nebraska has a chance to be able to win this game. Adrian Martinez's health will be big in this game, trying to keep the ball away from Tanner Morgan. Give me Nebraska. Pull off an upset on the road.
All right, McDonough and Blackledge on ABC will have Penn State and Iowa tonight. Major game day implications.
I tell you what, I think Penn State's offense is going to score a lot of points on Iowa's defense. I got Penn State against beating Iowa.
I got the Hawkeyes at home in Kinnick Stadium. I say it's a field goal.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to just read another thing to you.
I just want your approval, Coach.
Penn State has won the last 11 out of 11 against Big Ten West teams.
Yeah.
Make it 12. Penn State.
A lot of talk this
That's
week
fast.
about the magic of Kinnick Stadium, and justifiably so.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to play. But Iowa is tough at home when you don't expect them to play well. This is almost too obvious. Penn State with that defense, and I think the quarterback, Sean Clifford, makes the plays he needs to. Penn State wins on the road.
All right, that's on ABC. SC and Notre Dame. Who wins?
Notre Dame defense will force a couple of turnovers, get their offense a short field. I got Notre Dame over USC.
Notre Dame over USC by 2 touchdowns.
Notre Dame has won 14 straight at home. Make it 15, but close. Real close.
I think it's a back and forth game for much of the game, but I think at the end of it, Notre Dame's going to create a turnover, and that's going to be a backbreaker for SC. They'll pull away. Notre Dame wins this game in South Bend.
Anybody think Bama gets upset in Kyle Field?
No, sir. Statement game for Alabama today.
They're
Boo!
Thank you. They're at Kyle Field. Bama's won the last 6. I think this is going to be number 7.
Oh, it could be. Hey, Alabama's won 19 of the last 20 SEC road games. You know that?
Yeah.
I know you didn't know that. Alabama.
Yeah, I think 2 is too much. You know, Jimbo knows the recipe to try to knock off a Nick Saban team. I just don't think he has the complete team, especially they can't run the ball. Makes it easier for Saban in that defense. I like Alabama.
All right, how about Iowa State and West Virginia?
Brock Purdy, the Cyclones quarterback, is starting to run the ball a little bit more. I like Iowa State against West Virginia.
Cyclones are going into Morgantown. I think they're going to win by 7.
Oh, that's a nice pick. You know,
Thank you, Coach.
West Virginia has won 4 of the last 5, but not this year. Iowa State, close.
Yeah, man,
close.
Matt Campbell doing an incredible job with Iowa State. I'm with you guys. Iowa State, I think Brock Purdy, the defense, the team is still alive to try to get eventually to a Big 12 championship. I like Iowa State.
Boy, they play every game close, too.
Yeah. Oh,
Baylor's undefeated, Texas Tech.
I tell you what, Texas Tech, they can score some points. This was like flip a coin for me. I think Baylor's going to win a close one, but it may be a shootout, but I'm going with the Baylor Bears.
I got the bad boys from Baylor by 2 scores.
2 scores.
Oh, Baylor,
Wow.
It's a hot team, and I agree with them. Big, Baylor big in this one.
And I think Baylor's defense can slow down that Texas Tech offense. You're right, they're capable of scoring.
Yep.
But in Waco, with that defense and the way Brewer's playing for the Bears offense, I like Baylor.
In Oklahoma-Texas game, Grant Calcaterra, the tight end for the Sooners, out. Not going to play. Oh, you're Texas.
Oh, wow, that's going to be even a closer game. I'm going to go with OU. I think their offense is just too explosive, but a close game. Closer than the experts think.
Boomer Sooners closer than the experts think. Texas has been allowing 325 passing yards per game.
Wow, that's really good. How'd you find that out?
It's not true.
Okay, good. Oklahoma, because it's not true. Oklahoma, because it's not true.
I've been going back and forth all week on this one. I'm going with Texas.
Oh,
I think Texas pulls off the upset.
How could you do that?
I hope
They
you're right.
don't like that, but I think
How could you do
Sam
that?
Ellinger gets it done.
Oh.
Outduels Jalen Hurts. Texas coming in with a chip on their shoulder. I think they win.
All right, Texas
We
and
got 'em.
OU
I'll
coming
come
up,
with
and
you.
then the game tonight, LSU and Florida. Dan Mullen has a win in Tiger Stadium. Dan Mullen's teams have won 2 straight against LSU in 3 of the last 5. He has been a thorn in the Tigers' side. You mix in a little bad blood, and you got the perfect recipe for a Louisiana Saturday night.
When you wake up Saturday morning, you're going to feel in the state of Louisiana.
It's always a great atmosphere. I've been there many times.
It's an intimidating factor. You can go to 7-Eleven, they're cheering for the Tigers, man, it's over. LSU Tigers going to war!
If they're saying that they like us, they're lying.
We don't really like them. It's a big rivalry game.
We got that smoke for them, definitely.
You know, I'm expecting the worst, so this will probably be the craziest environment I've probably ever even played in.
Death Valley is where dreams come to die.
We're gonna have a lot of fun Saturday night.
We're trying to let everybody know that, we're the best team in the country. They're going to have nightmares when they leave, definitely.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Will we have nightmares or not? We got hijinks going on here. Herbie is going to call the game.
We work
No
for
pick.
Disney.
Desmond, give me a pick.
I tell you what, this is how this game is going to go. Florida's defense is going to put a lot of pressure on LSU's offense. They're going to cause them to turn the ball over, but then LSU's defense will prevail. They're going to get a pick 6 or a scoop or a score, and I think LSU wins this game in a close contest. I'm going Tigers.
It's going to be a nosebleed game in the trenches, but I have to go.
got his own prop.
I know. What's going on with that, Coach?
You're just a prop guy. He's got his own prop.
He too.
Did you
Great
okay that?
pick. Congratulations. That was a nice job.
Thank you, sir.
And then, sweetheart, how many years are we doing this together?
Together 24 years.
24 years we doing this?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, who do you remember that I picked last week?
Last week we were in Gainesville,
Yes.
the Auburn game. You had the nerve to pick Florida at home. One of the few, but you always say when you lose, say little, and when you win, say less. So
I say nothing this week.
So what are you going to say this week?
I say very little.
Very little.
I just listen to this.
Service of the Lord. Your college football is coming up right now.
All right, Reese, thanks.